Welcome, fellow Stardust, and thank you so much for joining me for another stream. And this time, we will be talking about our top five A24 films. As you may know, A24 is a production and distribution company. And today, I will have four guests with us, or with me, and we will be joined by our fourth guest here in just a few minutes. But right now, let me go ahead and introduce our first couple of folks. We have Terence here from Terence Miguana's channel. What's up, Terence?
Yeah, nice to see you, DeRay. Thanks for inviting us on.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for being here. I've had you on my channel a couple of times before, and it's always such an honor to have you here. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And next we have Evol Tyrone from Evol Tyrone from his interview channel. Welcome, Tyrone.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I feel like I've arrived. You're one of my favorite YouTube channels, so it's an honor to be here. So
yeah, that is so sweet of you to say. Thank you so much for being here. And next, we have a good friend of the channel, Corey, King Needgore himself. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on this show last minute.
Yes.
Real excited.
Yes. I'm sure you guys have seen my promos for this stream, and he hasn't been included in that. And that is because he asked to be a part of this just last night. And I said, why the hell not? Of course. I know you're also an A24 fan, and the more the merrier, and it's a gathering of friends this evening, so why the hell not? Yes. And then we also will have Lady Shasha joining us here soon, so I'll keep an eye out for her. But in the meantime, we'll just go ahead and get things started. And while we let some folks trickle in here, we will go ahead and take a look at the chat, and then we'll also just talk about the latest movies we've seen. So let's see here. Who do we've got here in the chat? We've got King saying what's up, Terry saying what's up, and we have a lovely patron in the house, Josie. What's up, girl? How you doing? Y'all check out her channel as well, Isms by Josie. She has an awesome nail channel. What's up, Double Feature Podcast? How y'all doing? Thank you so much for being here. Hello. And of course, we've got Tony Man in the house. Hey, Tony, thank you for being here. He said he's got his list ready. So yes, folks in the chat, if you have your A24 top 5 list ready, just be sure to type your titles into the chat as we go from 5 to 1. And let's see, who else do we've got in the house? We've got House of Ash. Hello, House of Ash. She's a new viewer. How you doing? Hello. And we've also got Faux Minky Latte. How you doing, Faux Minky Latte? I feel like Faux Minky is a king viewer, right? King, no, who is that? That's a familiar name, but I can't.
I've never met this person in my life.
Oh, okay.
But if I know you, welcome.
Okay, then I think it's a Lady Shasha fan who has just come into the house. What's up, Lady Shasha?
Hi. I'm sorry for being a freaking mess today. I could not find the link. I'm sitting there going, I can't. Going through the threads like, what the hell? I can't find the link.
I should have sent it to you on Instagram as well. I'm so sorry. That's my bad too, because we communicate through Instagram all the time. So
yeah, what was it on Twitter? I didn't check my Twitter.
No, I sent it to just the email. Your email.
Oh,
yeah.
That's why, because I for some reason my mind did not think to check my email.
Oh, where did you find it? Did I send it somewhere else too?
No. I messaged Terrence and also Corey to see if I had the link.
Okay.
One of them sent me the link just now.
That is so funny. Okay, that's my bad. I'm so sorry, because we do communicate often on Instagram. So yeah, I should have sent it there as well. Thank you so much for being here. You only missed just some chats on the or some comments in the chat room. So I'm just going through that right now. Cool. And I thank you again for being here. And Faux Minky Latte, she's one of your viewers, right? Because I know that name. Cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
I like the name.
Yeah, me too. That's a cool name.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tony, for that. Awesome. And all right, so yes, let's go ahead. Then again, we're going to let some people trickle into the live stream. So let's just go around the table and talk about the latest horror films we've seen. Either one that you liked a lot or one that you didn't like and you want to warn people from, whatever you got. So we'll go ahead and start here with Terrence.
Terrence? Well, non A24 films, yeah.
Oh no, just any movie. We're not talking about A24 just yet. We'll get into A24 here.
Well, I recently watched the Ed Gein film from 2000. I think it's called In the Light of the Moon. In the United States, it's called Ed Gein here, and yeah, it was interesting, but it was kind of uneventful considering it was very accurate to the Ed Gein story. I expected it to be a little bit crazier. You know, I guess because
I'm thinking of the wrong one.
I guess because there's been so many films made from that story, Chainsaw Massacre, Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, that it seems actually kind of tame in comparison, even though it felt genuine. And who was it that played him? Steve Railsback. Yeah. Steve Railsback, who also played Charles Manson in the 70s as well. So he's got 2 serial killers under his name. It was okay.
Good on you for watching the good Ed Gein movie.
Right. Well, yes. You know, Terence has actually been a huge help for me getting movies for my projects on YouTube. And so Ed Gein is my next true crime story. And you know, I asked Terence to get a couple of Ed Gein movies for me. And yeah, I watched these movies and I'm just like, yes, this is the most accurate retelling of this man's story, even though it does take some creative liberties itself, but it's also just boring and not sadistic, even though it is at the same time. And it's just like, I don't even want to watch this. And the other movies around it don't even come close to retelling Ed Gein's story, but they're more entertaining. And I don't know, it's so freaking weird, but there hasn't really been a movie out there yet. There's been 11 plus movies about this man, but there's not one yet that tells his story from beginning to end accurately, unfortunately, which is really weird.
Also, I'd like to add that the day for night shots were horrendous. Did you notice that when he was at the grave? And it was clearly daytime, and they put a horrible blue filter afterwards, and it was ugly.
Yes. All right, Tyrone, how about you?
Well, this is a blind buy. It was a blind buy. I heard a lot of good things about this movie, in the press and amongst the community, you know. So I decided to check it out. Cobweb, you know.
Okay.
Was very, very impressed by what I saw.
Nice.
Wasn't a perfect movie, you know, but I had a hell of a time. Especially like I was excited. It said the people behind Marianne. If you guys have checked out Marianne on Netflix, or behind this one, and if you haven't checked out Marianne, holy shit, it is off the rails. It's off the rails.
Okay.
So,
right. I've heard some mixed things about Cobweb. I've heard some people say the last half of it the last 30 minutes is not up to scratch, and other people are saying it's terrific. So
yeah,
I'm excited. That's the kind of films that get me excited when they're a little bit more divisive, as opposed to like everyone's on the bandwagon.
Yes,
my favorite part was the last 30 minutes.
Yes,
right. Okay, then now I'm excited.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, without spoiling it, it takes the same type of creative direction as Barbarian and I would say a little bit Malignant, where it starts off feeling like a run-of-the-mill horror movie, and then it just goes completely off the rails. But to me, I like that.
Well, that sounds like my cup of tea, love.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it again because honestly, about 45 minutes in, I just wanted to leave the theater, to be completely honest. I was just like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. What's going on? It's too much. And yeah, when we finally get our big reveal at the end, it was just underwhelming for me, and it just felt like too much. And I don't mind a bunch of things being crammed into, and you compare it to Malignant, which I absolutely loved, and I can kind of see the comparisons there, but yeah, I just wasn't into it at all. I think when you were in your live chat last night, Shasha, you were talking about the mom kind of, you know, going through the hall with her hands and that one jump scare. That was probably like the one moment that I actually liked in the whole movie, you know, and that was about it. Because it just looked cool, but it didn't really feel scary to me. But I'm just wondering if I just was in the wrong environment, because I was in the theater by myself, which usually is fine, but I just wasn't having a good time that day. So I'm going to give it another shot though.
I will agree. To me, it wasn't scary, but I just always feel like when something's not scary to me, it's because I'm old and jaded and watch too much horror. So when you say it's not scary, then I really know it's not scary.
I mean, sometimes it'll happen. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember my first time watching *Malignant*. I had certain expectations, and then I cut the movie on. I'm like, "What the hell is this, Godzilla?" Like it opened up like, you know, a Godzilla film, and I just was like, I'm not feeling this at all. But then I rewatched it, and I'm like, oh, I love this. I love it. You know, I had to buy it on Blu-ray.
Yes.
You know.
That happened to me with Babadook. It took me a couple of times,
Yes.
but I stopped that movie, you know, 5 or, you know, maybe 10, 15 minutes in. But yeah, with Cobweb, I made it from beginning to end and just left upset. But we'll see. We'll see the second time around. All right. Corey, or whose movie was that? Yeah, Corey, what's your movie?
What have I watched? I just watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies again. I've seen it like 3 times for some reason. It's all right. I like it enough. I don't know why I keep going back to it. I don't know why I keep going back to it, but
okay.
Yeah, I like it, I guess.
Nice.
Nightmare, also called Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. I picked that up on 4K. I pre-ordered it a few months ago, and it finally came in. So getting to watch that, you know, to own it and to see it again is pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, very bloody.
What's it called again?
I think it's UK horror. It's Nightmare, also called Nightmares in a Damaged Brain.
Yeah, it's a video nasty back in the day. Someone actually did jail time over that film. That's the only video nasty that someone actually did jail time over.
Yeah, it's got its own little unique story, and it's got some good practical effects. And lastly, I did see I caved. I watched The Flash. I checked it out.
Okay. No, it does look good. It's so frustrating, but it's like, oh, I do want to see it.
Man, I'm pretty sure you can watch it for free. Like, find a way to watch it for free. Watch it on a nice big new TV.
It's a Frankenstein's monster, isn't it?
You know,
isn't it?
It's like it just feels like they pulled out every stop they possibly could to get the movie off the ground, even though it failed. Like, you know. But it's like there's instances, especially with Ezra's like performance, where they're like, "Look, he's a really good actor," but it's like, bro, it's a horrible person, and it's terribly written. I'm sorry, I thought it was pretty bad.
It should have been a loss. Just chalk it up to a loss and start over. Just do it.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's
I had fun with the
There's
Flash.
some good ideas, man. I had fun with the eye candy aspect, but.
I did check out Bodies, 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 you know, for this live, but it didn't make it into my, you know, top 5 or honorable mentions, but it was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. I loved that little twist, you know, and, you know, it was aesthetically pleasing and just a lot better than what I thought it would be. So kudos to Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. How about you, Lady Shasha? What have you seen lately?
I saw this movie on Tubi called Reed's Point, which was about the Jersey Devil, and it was terrible.
Okay.
Another Jersey Devil movie flops.
Yeah, another Jersey Devil movie with 0 budget, and the devil costume looked okay. I didn't think that was too bad, but the story and acting was horrible. I also rewatched Stigmata for the first time since it came out in the theaters back in the day. I think it still holds up. But it's such a 90s film. Like, it's really like encapsulate everything 90s, from the hair and the clothes and the music. They were playing like this. The whole movie, the score is like industrial techno music. It's very, very 90s. But I love the message of the movie too. I think it's very underrated. And one that Terence was talking about in the live stream that we did to celebrate your channel's anniversary for Psychobabble. Yeah. I watched Hookers, Hustlers, Pimps, and their Johns. It was everything you said it was. It was great. It was available for free. It was either on IMDb TV or Freevee. If you have like Roku, just put that title in and it'll tell you where you can watch it for free. But very, very interesting documentary. And the sandpaper, there's a scene where a John requests a sandpaper. Can I say this on YouTube?
You can say tug.
Yeah. a sandpaper tug, and they did show that junk. Like they didn't.
Did you just say the word anyway?
Yes, I'm talking about boats. I mean, I don't know what do they mean. I mean, I'm just talking about boats, types of boats.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was way more. Like the thing that you guys have to know about me is I watch every documentary about hookers, like Hookers at the Point, Pimps Up, Hose Down, like all. I don't know why I have a fascination with these type of documentaries, but they're amazing to me. And this one was every bit as good as those two. And I think it's from 90, or is it from the early 2000s? It's from 1993. So definitely it's like a look at New York in 1993 and that whole scene. And the two guys who thought that they weren't pimps because they had an actual brothel. And it's like, just because you're not the type that walk the street behind your girls doesn't make you not pimps. They were funny.
Yeah, I saw it on television back then, and it stuck with me.
And, there was one more documentary I watched. It was called BS High, which was about the fake high school that had the football game against I forgot the other school's name on ESPN.
What?
Bishop Sycamore, something like that. Bishop Sycamore. You guys didn't see that? There was this guy created this fake high school so that he could have a football team, but most of the players were already like 22 years old, and they played played another high school team on ESPN, and then he got found out that he never had a school; he just had a football team.
Awesome.
It's like that one movie where they make up that college because like all these people are losers and they couldn't get into college, so they make up a college for their parents. What was that movie called? Accepted. Yes, that is so funny.
This is real life, and the guy said he's going to do it again.
I'm gonna do it. Was he a fucking supervillain?
He kind of is. If you watch him talk, he gives you all the supervillain vibes. Even down to a speech at the end about why he did what he did because he was saving kids from the neighborhood. But like they weren't kids; these were grown-ass men.
Lord.
And the worst part about it is
how is that not a crime?
They got beat by the high school. This is grown men playing on a football team that got their asses handed to them by high schoolers on national television on ESPN. Well, if you guys can find BS High, watch that documentary. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely checking that out.
I need to see that.
Awesome. Okay, well, the two movies I'll mention that I recently watched were one, The Blackening, which took me too long to check out, and I loved it. It was hilarious. I was laughing through the whole thing. We had some good jump scares. It was great. I also saw A Spoonful of Sugar on Shudder, which is worth definitely the watch. It did have a kind of a twist ending as well. It built up and it was really fun throughout, but I do think for me, even though the ending for some might be satisfying, it wasn't necessarily for me. And it wasn't as, I guess, I don't know, just not fulfilling in a way, but it was a fun ride to get there. So it's worth to check out A Spoonful of Sugar. All right, let me go ahead and say what's up to the chat real quick, unless you guys have a comment about either one of those two movies. And then we'll go ahead and move on to our honorable mentions for A24. So we had Patrick in the house. What's up, Patrick? Thanks for being here. He was on my last stream when we talked about our top 5 IFC midnight movies. He is a midnight king, and he's got a whole group called the I'm so sorry. Why did I say that? Because I'm not even thinking of the name right now, but like the Midnighters, I want to say on Facebook. And let's see here. His name says... Josie says, drawing on tiny spaces is always fun. I can't remember what we were talking about and what that is in reference to. Let's see, who else have we got? What are we saying here? I'm so sorry. I'm throwing these comments up, but I cannot remember what we were talking about. I think here we were talking about Cobweb, Tony Mann's reference.
Yeah.
Yes. Cobweb definitely goes off the rails. It sure does. It certainly does. Let's see. Josie last saw Don't Kill Them with Dolph Lundgren. I have not heard of that one or this actor, but sounds interesting. Okay, Josie is also obviously a huge horror fan. She actually also won a giveaway I was doing when I was doing basically like a not a trivia game, but me and my panelists were describing kill scenes with very vague clues, and she was just getting them one by one, and she won
well
that
done,
one.
Josie.
Yes. Let's see. Don't kill them was really good, he says, Patrick. And let's see what else we got here. All right. Murderous children are always fun. Children of the Corn vibes. I'm down with that. Okay. Tony Man says some of the movies I remember seeing were a Scream ripoff with Michael J. White. The killer punches people to death. Okay.
Love Michael J. White. Anybody going to see The Outlaw Johnny Black? Has anyone seen it?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I want to see that.
Yeah, I don't know when it's coming out here in the UK. Probably in like 6 months or something. But I know it just came out in the States, didn't it?
I'm not sure when it comes out. I'm definitely gonna see it.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too. The Angry Black Girl from Monster.
Yes, it's on my watch list, and I keep scrolling past it because there's just so many movies to watch. But I do want to see that.
It should be on Shudder next month.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I love Stigmata right now. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, under 23, and I have heard some people saying, "Oh man, I watched it now and I hate it." Blah blah blah. It's just it didn't hold up, but I have a feeling I'm still gonna like it. I think it's gonna hold up for me as well once I see it again as an adult. What's up, Mr. Dan? Another patron. How you doing? A Bad Jersey Devil movie. Not sure what that's in reference to. And what's up, Horror Retrospective? Thanks for dropping in. She says that sounds like a crazy movie, which, movie we're talking about, I don't know, but they all sound pretty crazy. Let's see who else we got. We've got people saying hello and responding to each other. All right. Awesome. All right.
That's right. Stab the like button.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's what she meant. Thank you. Appreciate that. King Needgore. All right, let's go ahead and hop right into our honorable mentions, and then we'll get into our top 5. But real quick, I'll just give y'all a little brief history on A24 because it is a very new production company. It's only been around since 2012, and it started out as a distribution company between 3 guys, Daniel Katz, David Finkel, and John Hodges, and Katz was at Guggenheim, which is an investment firm, basically, and Finkel was co-founder of Oscilloscope and president of Oscilloscope Laboratories. And John Hodges was head of production and development over at Big Beach. And so Guggenheim Partners was the seed money for A24, and their goal was to basically find movies that, that came from a distinctive point of view. They really trusted the directors to create a film and then bought that film and wanted to show it to the world instead of finding people and scripts that they liked and molding it into what they wanted it to be, like a lot of these studios do these days. And so let's see. So in 2013 is when they got their multi-year distribution deal with Amazon Prime just a year after, being founded. And that same year is when they got worldwide recognition with their movie Spring Breakers. Spring Breakers had a couple of our Disney stars like Selena Gomez and Vanessa Hudgens. And then we also had James Franco in there. And that was directed by Harmony Korine. And after that movie, they just kept getting more deals again. So like in, 2015, they also, let me go back here one second. So yeah, Amazon and DirecTV, and then later with HBO. And then, yes, in 2015, they also started to get into TV, which I didn't really realize they were doing a lot of TV shows until I watched the show Beef. I don't know if y'all have seen that movie that show with Stephen Yeun and Ali Wong. That is just one of my favorite shows right now. And if they came with the season 2, okay, fine. But for me, it just ended perfectly how it ended, with just being a standalone season. But if they had a whole new cast, I'd be down for that. So it's cool to know that they're also working on shows. So Euphoria is one of their shows too, which I've not yet seen. That's on HBO, and HBO kind of gets all the credit for it. But it is an A24 series. So now I'm like more inclined to check that out. And let's see. And so in 2016, by that time, they were already just getting recognized by the Academy Awards with 7 nominations. And with Moonlight, it was actually Moonlight that got the 7 nominations, which is still today, one of their most successful films. And it was the first all-Black cast, Black director, to get this kind of recognition from the Academy Awards. And not a horror, but a really heavy drama that will make a person like me just bawl at the end of it. It's a really moving, just amazing movie about coming of age and just I don't want to go too much into it. Sorry, say it.
Identity,
exactly. Identity.
What was the title again?
Moonlight.
Oh, Moonlighting. Yeah.
Moonlight.
No, La La
there was
Land.
a Moonlighting.
No,
I remember that.
Yes.
Not today.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll never be forgotten because of that. That was amazing.
Yep. And then in 2018, it got its multi-year deal with Apple TV and Showtime. In 2021, Lamb. Oh, and so I didn't mention, but with Moonlight, it was the first film to be produced and distributed by A24, and then it broke all these records and got all these awards, and is still the top performing film for A24, along with obviously Anywhere, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And so like I said before, it really trusts its directors to make the movies, because a lot of times it goes to the film festivals and it buys these movies and distributes them and does some marketing and distributes them, instead of finding a script, watching it be produced and filmed, and then doing test screenings and tweaking the end. It doesn't try to alter a movie. And so with this, they're also really gearing their audience towards millennials, 18 to 40-year-olds. That's kind of been their target audience for a while, because when they started back in 2012, that's when social media was really starting to take off. And because these movies are already made and they're taking chances on these directors that they think are cool, they spend very little money on marketing. So they'll use social media in a very easy, cheap way. And so all their marketing campaigns for each film are unique to that film. And so like with Spring Breakers, they had a picture of it was like a spoof of The Last Supper, where you had James Franco and all of the characters just chilling there, and it got all these likes and things. So when the movie was released, people flocked to it, and they've been doing that literally ever since. And it's one of the few production companies that's making money off of its merchandise. One of the other companies you could say making money doing that is Disney, but not Paramount. You're not going to see Lionsgate, caps and water bottles and things like you are seeing with A24. So they've been just kind of exploding for the past 11 years and have been reaching the status of these companies that have been around for almost a century. So it's just really cool to see it, because it gives us something different. We're getting the perspective of the director. We're getting debuts from directors, who've been doing other, careers and then come into film, or who are in film just as actors and producers and wanting to step into the director's chair. They're giving those people that chance, which I really love to see. And their average Rotten Tomatoes score over all of their films is 86%, which is pretty freaking amazing, So yes, with that being said, we'll go ahead and get into our honorable mentions. So do we all have 5 honorable mentions? Is that safe to say we all have 5?
I've got 3.
I have 5 safe, but they just about
5.
everything that is in my top 5.
Okay, so let's just go one by one. So Terrence, what's your first honorable mention?
Tusk, from when was that? 2014, I think.
Woo!
Tusk.
Yes.
I only saw this the other day, and the only reason it doesn't make it into my top 5 is because of Johnny Depp. I feel like Johnny Depp almost derailed that film.
Don't do that, Johnny. I know. I feel that.
It's like, wake up. It's only a movie. There's Johnny Depp sort of hamming it right up. But the rest of it, Michael Parks. Oh, yes. Wow. He's fantastic in that. And Justin Long, even though he spends most of the time as a walrus, his acting in those scenes are fantastic.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny that he's now become this new sort of victim, everyone's favorite victim in horror movies since
Scream King. Yes. Oh, I love it. As most of my viewers know, I absolutely just love Tusk. I've done a couple of videos on it. Might have to do a couple more. But yes, great pick. How about for you, Tyrone? What's one of your honorable mentions?
You know what? One of my honorable mentions is Midsummer.
Okay.
I went into it blind, did not know what to expect from that movie, and I feel like it took me through a range of emotions. Like things were calm, chill, and then all of a sudden, bam! And it's just like it. I don't know. It didn't provide like quote unquote jump scares for me, but it did give my system a jolt in certain moments. It was very unsettling. So
Okay.
Midsummer.
Yes. I like that. It's definitely that it's atmospheric and it creates a mood and an atmosphere, obviously. And yeah, it's just a whole ass mood. So I feel that. Yes. Awesome. All right. How about for you, Corey?
I'm going with The Killing of a Sacred Deer from 2017.
Okay.
That's I really like that movie. There's most of these A24 movies I like to some degree.
Right.
But yeah, Killing of a Sacred Deer. I'm not going to try explaining. It's just a very weird, off film. I'm pretty sure it's Yorgos Lanthimos is the director, and
Okay.
he like strictly exclusively does weird movies. But if you haven't seen Killing of a Sacred Deer, that's worth checking out. A24.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. It's definitely high on my A24 watch
Nicole
list. It
Kidman?
did look
Is
great.
it
The
Nicole
cast
Kidman or
was
something?
great.
Barry Keoghan,
Yeah.
dude. I think that's how you say his
Yeah.
last name.
No,
But
Nicole
he's
Kidman is also in it, along
yeah,
with it's an all-star cast, basically,
Colin
right?
Farrell. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
It's
forgot
good.
to mention to my viewers, so obviously, the five of us have not seen every A24 horror film or thriller film. This is literally just our top five right now. And, next year and the year after that, our top five could change. So we haven't seen every horror movie that A24 has made. This is just our top five list for what we've seen so far. So yeah, I can totally see my list kind of getting switched around a little bit already, but yeah, I definitely want to check out the Sacred Deer movie for sure. All right, what's one of your honorable mentions, Lady Shasha?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I was gonna give the disclaimer that I have not seen In Fabric, the Lobster, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and High Life. So if anyone's in the comments going, "Why didn't she say this?" I haven't seen those.
Right, exactly. Don't come for me.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Hereditary. Shoot me.
You didn't watch
Okay.
it?
That's okay.
So my first honorable mention is Ex Machina. I feel like it just
Yes.
barely missed being in my top five.
Yes. So I actually didn't put my honorable mentions in an order, but it makes sense to do that. Like hello, just do that. So, all right, good on you. And I'm gonna try to put, I guess, my I'm not gonna put mine in an order because I even told you on my email it is so hard to like say okay 5 to 1, and it was difficult to do that for my top five. So I'm just gonna give y'all my honorable mentions as they come. And just because you said Egg Machina, I'm gonna go ahead with Egg Machina too. It totally was a moving, sad ass story. The end. I love a bleak ending. I know Terrence loves a bleak ending too, and it's just like, well, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
I also enjoy disco dancing for no reason, just because you have an Android that you can make disco dance with you.
Oh, I'm so in.
Yes. Oh, that was such a good, sad story. I loved it. It was beautifully done. All right. So, yes, Terrence, what is your second honorable mention?
So, a second honorable mention. Hold on, get the memory like a sieve. Talk to Me, which I just watched. I thought it was perfect, right? I thought it was a great horror film, but I've just watched it, so it's not marinated yet. So a lot of films need to marinate with me before they get into my top. The thing is, top 10s are so hard. Top 5s, they're interchangeable with me. They change like the seasons. But yeah, fantastic horror film from start to finish, beat by beat.
Yeah,
perfect.
Would it be in your top 10 horror of 2023?
Oh, easily. Might even go to number 1. I'm just
Okay.
I'm still buzzing in my head right now, you know?
Love that. Awesome. Yes, it's totally one of my favorites of the year so far with horror. Yeah, so it'll probably be in my top 5, top 10, by the end of it. So we'll see. Very cool. All right, Tyrone, what is another one of your honorable mentions?
I'm gonna go with what Terrence said earlier. I'm gonna go with Tusk. It is
Yes.
definitely in my honorable mentions because I really enjoyed the film, and it is my go-to when I have friends or family over and we're getting high and I want to show them something that they've never seen. I throw on Tusk and they're like, what the hell are you showing me right now?
Yeah.
Love that. Same. I love showing that movie to people for the first time. It is the absolute freaking best. Very good. All right. How about for you, Corey?
Hereditary.
Okay.
I really like Hereditary. Honorable mention just means it's not like in my like I don't return to it all that often. It's not in my rotation seriously, but I think it's fantastic. I do think it
Yeah.
I don't know, it gets snubbed as like overrated a lot of times, but I don't know. I think it's pretty well rated. I think it's an effective
Yes.
movie.
It's a heavy one to kind of go back to on a regular basis. You have to kind of be in the mood. It's got to be an event almost to watch Hereditary.
Yeah, I'll watch it on Halloween or something like that.
Exactly.
It's very moody.
Yep. What's up, Chris? Welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. All right, Lady Shasha, what you got for us?
For my second one,
yeah,
I have it. They're two together because I believe they go together. I'm gonna give this disclaimer that they might move up in my top 5 when the third part comes out. So my second honorable mention is Pearl/X. Now, if Maxine comes out and blows it out the water, then I might move them up. But right now it's Pearl/X because they go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, I did like X, and I really loved Pearl. So I'm really eager for Maxine, and Pearl definitely made me like X more. And I watched it again and liked it even more. So yes, super excited for that for sure. I think everybody here liked X and Pearl, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very much. My next honorable mention will be Talk to Me. It was pretty close, I think, getting into my top 5, but like we've been mentioning, the movies in our top 5 are ones that we just keep going back to and just want to watch over and over again. And I just haven't had the opportunity to do that with Talk to Me yet, but I do want to see it again. But right now, 2022 and 2023 movies, I'll guess this will be a bit of a spoiler. Haven't made it into my top 5 just because I haven't had enough time to marinate, on it like Terrence likes to marinate. So Talk to Me though, top 5, top 10, probably top 5 for right now as far as horror film goes for me. So yes. All right, Terrence, what's your next honorable mention?
Under the Skin. With Scarlett Johansson, which is weird as hell, and they shot it here in Glasgow. And I'm kind of when I watch it, I go, would I go in a van with Scarlett Johansson?
You probably would. You would. Right? You would.
No. The way that they claimed that it was filmed, that these guys were not actors and stuff.
I know, like some of them were and some of them weren't, right? I think they kind of make it blurry as to which one was which, on purpose.
Yeah.
I would hope that they're actors, either that or Scottish men are very cool with getting naked at a moment's notice.
Oh, okay.
I enjoyed that part of the movie very much.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And as it's near to see all these streets that, they're not too far from here, all over the place that she's been haunting. And it's really, really, really haunting in a weird, it's got a brilliant atmosphere. It is actually quite frightening. And the whole part where they're all sort of sinking into that liquid and stuff.
I would like to call your attention to, we talked about naked men, and at that moment, it's like we said Beetlejuice 3 times. Curly Girl popped up in the comments. With her knives to cut the dicks off.
But yeah, Under the Skin
Yes,
was
that was actually an adaptation, Under the Skin, and apparently they worked on that script for years, and it ended up being kind of far from the book. But it's just interesting to know that because, yeah, it's always interesting to me when I realize a movie is an adaptation, and then when it had so much pre-production behind it, it always fascinates me. But yeah, they kind of went far from it just to make it more visually entertaining and to kind of bring down the budget because there were a lot of things in that movie that were going to be expensive, so they kind of took that out. And I think they came out with something really just creepy and atmospheric, and yeah, some really creepy moments in there. Good pick, very good pick. How about for you, Tyrone? What's your next one?
Ooh, my next one is going to be a controversial one. I've gotten beaten up a lot about enjoying this film, but bodies. You know,
Okay.
I thought it was a good time.
It's
It was a
pretty
good
good.
you know,
Yes.
especially the ending. I know a lot of people were irritated with like the dialogue and stuff like that, but I felt like that was kind of the point of the film.
Yeah.
You know, like so it delivered for what it was. You know, not too
Yeah.
deep. It delivered for what it was for me. You know.
I think that's exactly right. Like I said, it was better than what I thought it was, but it delivered on also what it was trying to sell. So yeah. It did good in that one. All right, Corey, how about you?
Circling back around, it's basically Midsommar as well.
Yeah.
Like it. It's not in my everyday rotation, and unlike Hereditary, it's I like it for different reasons. It's not scary to me at all, but
She's
I don't know.
beautiful.
It aesthetically it does something for me that not a lot of movies can do for
Yes.
me. When I just want to see
Yes.
people screaming in flowers, you can watch Midsommar. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes you just want to see. Sometimes you want a pretty horror movie, and they
yeah,
gave
you
us
do.
that with Midsommar.
Yeah.
So I
Yes,
can fuck with
really
that.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable mention
Very cool.
for sure.
Okay. How about for you, Lady Shasha?
Same movie, same position, Midsommar.
Nice. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was very beautiful, but it's not something I think I would rewatch.
Huh. Okay. You only watched it once so far?
Yeah, I've only watched it one time. I feel like if I were to rewatch it, I would probably fast forward it an hour and a half and then watch it from that point.
Nah.
It's good on mute. Like if you watch a movie on mute, like Midsommar is the one.
That's what you're doing right now. That's what you do all the time. You watching everything on mute, Corey.
I got Naruto on mute right now.
See? The only time that's acceptable is when it's a kung fu movie from the 70s and you're playing hip hop music as the background music. That's how you're supposed to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The world is evolved.
Well, that's from back in the day. That's what my aunts and uncles used to do in the 80s. They would always have like kung fu movies on, but they would have the stereo blasting. But it would be like you're watching like I don't know. I can't remember. There's a kung fu movie that sticks in my head. There's a dude that had razors on his hat, and he was decapitating people with the razors on his hat.
Oh shit! It's the guillotine one.
But the soundtrack I remember to it is like Cameo. So I'm gonna have to rewatch that as an adult to hear the actual dialogue.
Yeah, it's the ideal way to watch some movies. Like Midsommar is kind of annoying. Like I'd love to just like throw on a album over top of it.
We
Girls crying and being sad can be annoying, Corey, but it's just them having feelings.
When they get in the room and they're like all screaming together in unison.
Corey,
for like a solid 120 seconds.
Do you know about the myth of, or I don't know what's a myth, the rumor of Dark Side of the Moon?
Yeah.
Wizard
of Oz?
Yes. I'm surprised he knew it.
Yeah, we've done it.
That's an oldie but goodie.
We should all do that someday. We should just like special watch party, you know?
Oh, for the people watching that don't haven't heard that, there's a rumor that if you play, is it Led Zeppelin's Dark Side of the Moon or is it Pink Floyd?
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, thank you.
Pink Floyd,
you play that with the Wizard of Oz, that the album syncs up to everything that's happening in the movie.
Yeah,
I think on the Dark Side of the Moon Wikipedia page, it tells you the exact time code to put it on at, so that it goes into sync with
that's
Wizard of Oz.
It's a good album, dude, and they just do well.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and throw out there as my next honorable mention, Hereditary. I love that movie. I saw it in the theaters and super excited when I walked out, a little confused and a little stunned, and watched it again. Loved it, even more. And yeah, it's a great atmospheric, just well. And I love Toni Collette. Loved her ever since Clock Watchers, which is basically the female point of view of Office Space, just brilliantly done. And I think it was right before Office Space, I want to say. And yeah, check that out if you haven't seen it. I've loved her ever since. All right, what's your last, I believe, or maybe we got two more. What's your next honorable mention, Terry?
Oh, I don't think I've got one.
If you don't have any, that's fine.
No.
What about you, Tyrone? You have one?
I'm gonna have to go with X.
Okay.
From the first time that I saw it, I just fell in love with the gore, and just the style of it. I really enjoyed the scenery and just the musical choices and things like that. Kid Cudi's acting also top tier. So it was a fun time.
Him.
X is definitely up there.
You can see on my channel, I did a what did I call them? A ride along review where I did like a dinner and a movie, and I and I watched X and did my review in the car. But Brandon, my husband, had just a last minute idea to shoot me in the theater, kind of reacting to the movie. So in that review, you get a couple of shots of me like watching the movie, and I'm pretty grossed out. I didn't love it at first, despite all of those reactions I had. But like I said a little bit earlier, I did fall more in love with it. So. I'm glad I gave it more of a chance after Pearl. Very good. All right, Corey, how about you?
I'm going with Saint Maud. This movie, underrated. It's a mess. It's all over the place. The character is a mess.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just a messy ass movie. You should watch it if you haven't seen it.
I did watch it just in case, because it felt like a movie that I would really like, and I toyed with the idea of putting it in my honorable mention. But that girl is out of her mind, clearly. I just reviewed The Devil's Candy, and it kind of reminded me of that in the sense that, like, this person is just that enthralled in religion that it kind of teeters on that topic of mental illness, and she's totally just sick, unfortunately.
Very sick.
Very
it's a
sick.
Weird movie.
Yes, it's wonderful. Definitely watch Saint Maud, y'all, if you haven't yet. Anybody else seen it on the panel?
I've seen Saint Maud.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah,
I've got to check it
out. Did you like it, Shasha?
It was all right. I think Crystal told me about it because her favorite genre of horror is religious horror. So I think she put me on to Saint Maud.
It's a weird one. It took a while for it to get released in the States for some reason. I was waiting on that movie for a while.
I think the ending leaves you stunned. Like you have to think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
But
go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I also did Hereditary for my number 4. Did I skip Corey? Corey, you said yours, right?
No, I did it. Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I'm tripping, but yeah, I had read Hereditary for the same reason. I remember when I did my review for Hereditary saying that if Toni Collette had done this in any other genre than horror, she would have been nominated for an Oscar. Yes. And I've seen her grow as an actor since Muriel's Wedding. And it's just like she's her and oh God, Lupita. When Lupita played 2 roles in Us. Yeah. These are women that should have been nominated for Oscars, and because it's in the horror genre, they get overlooked.
Yes,
it's a shame.
100%.
It never used to be that way because Sissy Spacek got nominated for Carrie, and the lady for Rosemary's Baby, what's her name? Ruth Gordon.
I feel like Spacek though. I feel like she had like pool though. She was part of a family of something, right? Mm-hmm. She had that Hollywood pool, which is why. But horror has always been snubbed at every turn. It's disappointing, but whatever. Who cares? We know what's up. That's why YouTubers are making these award shows themselves. And one of these days, a couple of those are just going to be the new Academy Awards for horror and screw the Academy Awards and every other award program. Screw them. And Tony Man, Everything Everywhere All at Once is unique though, because even though it's like an action drama, it is for whatever reason kind of thrown into the horror category. So one of us still might bring it up in our honorable mentions or top 5. So that's totally okay to consider that for this list. And let me just go ahead and get through this comment list real quick before I get too far behind. Astrid DeKeko, thank you so much for dropping in. It's so good to meet you this evening. And your honorable mentions are Min X Pearl High Life, which I still need to see. That is also on my list, and Tusk. I am loving everybody's honorable mentions so far. And Double Feature Podcast knows what's up with Ek Machina. What's up again to Chris? And let's see. What did Patrick say here? He Men in the Iron Mask. DiCaprio. Who are we talking about there?
Gabriel Byrne. Because I made a mistake in the chat and I said that Gabriel Byrne played the devil in Stigmata, but he played a priest. Is because that day I had watched End of Days and then I watched Stigmata back to back, and Gabriel Byrne actually played the devil in End of Days, but he played a priest in Stigmata.
Okay.
Boy compared to me.
Double Feature knows what's up with Talk to Me. That's what's up. All right. Retrospective says, I think the disco dance was more of an example of guys needing to control things. What was that again? What were we talking about there?
That was Ex Machina.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right, number 5, Lighthouse. I'm sure that's going to be on somebody's top 5. It almost made into my honorable mentions and even top 5 too, but man, there's just so many to choose from. We might even do a top 10 next year instead of a top 5, and then do our 15 as our honorable mention there, because there's just so many.
Well, when I think of the Lighthouse, I automatically think of the scene where he was self-pleasuring with the mermaid doll.
Because it's the best scene.
Because it's the best scene.
That's a weird movie.
Yeah, I forgot about the Lighthouse. Patrick. That would be an honorable mention. The Lighthouse, definitely.
Yes. X and Pearl, that's what's up. Okay, here we go. Curly in the house. What's up? This is what I was looking for. So I hadn't seen her yet, and y'all were mentioning her. How you doing, Curly? Thank you so much for being here. She is 1/3 of a Psychobabble with Terrence and Wes. Y'all can catch them every Saturday night on Terence Miguana's channel. And
1/4 now. 1/4. There's 4 of us. Don't feed us after midnight because we multiply. Yeah, King Gore's.
Okay, King Gore.
King Gore is now a Psychobabbler as well.
Oh,
okay. Okay, we'll add King Gore to the mix then. He's our new addition.
I got the jacket. It's on the way.
Yeah, he got the pin, the jacket, and the cap, and the water bottle. He's good to go. Awesome. All right, let's see here. What else we got? Scarlett Johansson would take your shoes off, Terrence. Yes. She wouldn't even have to say a word. She would just be like this. This would be Scarlett. She just have to do her head like that. Good to go.
That easy.
No, come on.
I don't know. I'm just saying she's that beautiful. I don't know how easy you are. I'm just saying she's that beautiful. I don't know. Even though she pissed me off with the whole Woody Allen thing, it's like, girl, don't have an opinion on anything about that. Just stay in your corner and be the little pretty face and act. Don't have anything to say about any of that, okay?
God,
dude. I didn't know she said something. That's
she was like saying, I believe him, and I'm gonna just be an actress in all of his movies that he wants me to be an actress in.
Girl, you weren't there. You shouldn't say who you believe. You were not there. Weren't even there. You were like 10 years old when all this happened.
Exactly. Shut the hell up. Anyway, moving on. What do we got here? All right. Yes, Toni Collette. That's my girl. All the way. I don't want to click on every comment here because we do have a bit of a time limit. What's up, Mario? Mario is from Dos Incredibles, another one of my buddy channels. Both of them, Mario and Jeff are my YouTube friends, and they're just awesome. And their movie, it's a podcast. They talk about all kinds of movies. Whenever I'm on there, we talk about some of their favorite horror movies. Definitely check them out if you can. Dos Incredibles Network. And we've also got Replicant Roy. Hello, Replicant Roy. Welcome to my channel.
Nice picture too.
I think he's talking about Johansson, which, yes, he totally agrees with us. Like, don't defend some old man you know nothing about. Please and thank you. All right, y'all. So now we are going to get into our actual top 5. So we'll be getting more in depth. We'll be talking about, their ratings and when it was released and all that good stuff. So now we're getting into the nitty gritty. So we'll start with Terrence. What is your number 5 film? We're going to work all the way up to our number 1 most favorite A24 film. Take it away.
Of course. Number 5 for me is X. And I think X was really surprising to me because it wasn't what I expected. I watched your review first, actually. That was the first review I'd seen on X. And from the trailer, I expected that it was going to be these Puritans that were going to kill these porn stars for being sexually promiscuous.
Yeah.
But it didn't go down that way at all. And do you know what? As much as throughout the 80s and 90s, mainly the 80s, there was a lot of sex in horror films, and now it doesn't seem to exist at all, right? And X felt like a bit of a kind of revival of that. The sex was actually more prevalent in it than the actual horror, weirdly. It seemed to have something to say about the sexual promiscuity and Pearl as a character that was kind of missing that. I thought that was fascinating, and it was brilliantly done. I mean, the some of the shots, I loved that scene where she's swimming in the alligator, that sequence. That was amazing.
Yes.
X is in my top 5, number 5.
Yes. I forgot what I was just going to say about it because we were talking about Pearl as well. Anybody else, bring your comment to the table for X, and I'll remember what I was going to say just now. Go ahead.
I think the alligator part might have been a shout out to Eaten Alive.
Yeah. Toby Hooper one from the 70s.
Yeah, Toby Hooper, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
The kill in front of the headlights. Where the old lady like stabs that dude's head off. That was so brutal. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I didn't take it in the first time I watched it, but I rewatched X a couple weeks ago. And that scene stuck out to me so much. I'm like, dude, that was pretty vicious. They didn't have to do it that way. That was a good, made a choice. So, yeah, X is pretty dope, man. It's a good movie.
And like you said, there was a misdirection with the trailer, but it did do that in the film, because at first you're thinking, oh, they're just strict people who are trying to live by, quote unquote, the law or the Bible. But then you get that twist where it's just both of them kind of just being a little horny, or mostly Pearl just being horny, and not being able to explore that. And that's just so comical, but just so real at the same time, because you can relate to it. And that's what's great about X, is that it's relatable, and it's just so grounded in reality. And it had a great cast.
It's as though we've all been trained by the slasher genre, like the Friday the 13th movies, that sex means death. Whereas in, not to spoil X, but the main character Maxine, she does
totally
coke,
fine.
she has sex,
and
we know what happens, right? And that was refreshing to me, because you're expecting like, oh, you're going to do drugs, you're going to have sex, then Jason Voorhees is going to decapitate you.
Yeah, I kind of hate that Friday the 13th did that, because their initial purpose, like what's his name, Sean Cunningham, was saying that he was trying to copy off of Halloween, but John Carpenter said the only reason why he did that is he said he couldn't think of anything that would distract you enough for you not to notice a killer coming. That was his only reason for having people get attacked while they were having sex. It wasn't like a statement, but then Friday the 13th turned it into a statement.
Exactly.
So what was the IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes rating? And then, I'm sure we all know, but who was the director, and when was it released, and where did it premiere?
What, the X? Ty West?
Yes.
2021? Was it 2021 or 22? 22 last year?
Yes.
I don't know what its Rotten Tomatoes IMDb score is. Probably
okay.
It's probably middle of the road, I would imagine.
Okay. No problem. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip you real quick, Tyrone, just so that way I'm going to kind of just give it to you guys how, it should be delivered. I guess if you guys want to know that real quick because, anyways, I'm just going to go ahead with my number 5. So my number 5 is Spring Breakers, and I might lose some people here with this one. Spring Breakers isn't necessarily a horror, but it's a thriller crime movie, essentially. One of my first, it is my first A24 movie, and I watched it when it came out because I was a huge fan of James Franco. Unfortunately, he's another one of those actors that I can't love anymore, but I loved him from Freaks and Geeks. And when he made it to A24, I was just like, yes, I was following him that whole time, and it was just everything to me. And so it's directed by Harmony Korine, who also did Kids and Gummo, which I watched Kids when I was 14 for the first time on HBO by myself at like 2 a.m. And I was just infatuated with that movie from that point on. Watching Kids today, it's a bit of a different experience, but I was just infatuated with that movie and him. And then Gummo was just like also on the top of my list because of how gritty and real that shit was. And so when he was the guy who did the first A24 film that came out, I was like, oh, look at Harmony. He just kind of grew up and now he's doing shit like this. Good for him. Who's A24? What the hell is this shit? So on IMDb, it's got a 5.3, which is, obviously pretty run-of-the-mill. Rotten Tomatoes has got a 68%, but from the audiences, it's only got a 38%. It gets a lot of hate, which I understand because it's kind of goofy. It's got some comedy in there. It tries to be a bit of a black comedy. And James Franco can be kind of annoying in a way, and you can kind of see some riff raff influences. But Harmony says that character is based off another rapper named Dangerous that is actually in the movie itself, but they did watch some riff raff videos for reference. And it's funny because riff raff actually tried to what's it called, sue him for $10 million for that portrayal, but Dangerous was on set and it was all about him, and so they were able to kind of escape that whole situation.
Riff Raff, if I'm not mistaken, did he come from there was a reality show. It was either that show with Farnsworth Bentley where they're trying to teach guys how to be gentlemen, or was he on the show where people were trying to date in New York?
One of those.
It was
one
the
of
first
those.
One. It was the first one.
I think the first one,
the male
right?
charm pool. Yeah. I don't know the name of it.
Yes.
From G's to Gents.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. G's to Gents. Yes, I watched that too. Yes. So for Spring Breakers, there was a 3-minute preview released in May of 2022 at Cannes Film Festival, and then the actual film was screened at the 69th Venice International Film Festival on September 4th, 2012, and then it had a New York and LA release on May 15, 2013, and then finally was nationwide March of 2013. Then it had a limited release in the UK on April 5th, 2013, and then in France in 2013, and then in Australia in May. And so it had all these, different releases because, again, A24 was brand new. This was their first big film, so it was getting a lot of buzz. And so other people were trying to take advantage of that too. And it's got a happy yet a bleak ending, which I know, Terrence, you like also bleak endings because I love both. I need a little bit of both. I need 50-50. And when you just do it so well, it's just awesome. I don't want that to deter you or feel like a spoiler because even though it is bleak, it's also good at the same time. So I just in my mind when I think of Spring Breakers, I just hear spring break forever. Him whispering, and it sucks that it's James Franco's voice, that motherfucker, but it's so good, and he is a good actor. He is a talent. He is.
And
yes,
kind
exactly.
Of the future.
Exactly.
I don't know if you saw the I think they were called the Green Goblin Gang in New York. It was a gang of girls that they wore like those green, the suits.
Is it predicting the future or is it inspiration copying some shit? You know what I mean? I wanted to be those people. Like in 2014, I was young. I was like, bitch, I want to post up and like have a gun and a mask and a bikini. Hell yeah. People want to call it, being sexist or misogynistic. Nah, bruh. Like, those females were empowered. They knew what they wanted and they motherfucking got it. You know what I mean? Like, I love that about that
how we
movie.
felt when we saw Set It Off. Like, it's wrong, but you understood.
Yes. Point blank, period.
Mhm.
Yes. All right. Let's move on. How about for you, Tyrone? What is your number 5?
Oh, number 5. I might have to kick it off with a little film from 2000. What is it? 2016 called Green Room. A punk rock band. They get trapped in a venue. With a bunch of white power skinheads. And things get a lot gory. I actually made the mistake of making that movie a date night choice, and my date was not having it at all.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I ended up I remember it was like one of the few films that I was actually like squirming in my seat, watching certain scenes, because it was just the brutality level. Like, it wasn't, the bloodiest movie, but it was definitely like the things that they were doing. I was just like, everything about it just made me uncomfortable. And I walked in blind. I should have read some sort of description prior, but I walked in blind on a date, and I was like, oh, so Green Room. But yeah, it's definitely
Patrick Stewart. I'd never seen him be evil before, but it was believable.
Right.
Crazy.
Those damn dogs, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just
so this, it was released in 2015, right? And its Rotten Tomato score is 90 from the Tomato Meter, 75 from the audience score.
Yes.
And we have our sorry, I had it and then I lost it. But Charlie Bartlett, one of my favorite movies ever.
Yes.
What's his name? Anton Yelchin. Yes. He's in this one, and he's just absolutely perfect.
Is he not passed away now?
Yeah.
Yes, because of a freaking Jeep malfunction. It was a recall on Jeeps, I believe it was. Is that the car that it was?
Right.
Yeah, and something he had it in brake, he had it in park or whatever, with the brake on, and the parking brake I think malfunctioned and crushed him. Charlie Bartlett will always be like in my top 100 films.
Charlie Bartlett. Not many people bring up Charlie Bartlett. Yeah.
Oh, see, it's unfortunate. Yes, and Green Room also has a 7, and for me on IMDb, if you have like a 5.5 or a 6 on IMDb, you're doing pretty good. It's a pretty high score, because like 7s, like this Green Room has 7, and then 8s are pretty rare, and if you have a 9, that's basically a 10. It's super rare and super high. So I definitely agree with this. This was also one that almost made it into my honorable mentions. It's got really good tension building, and it might not be the best for a date night, depending on who you're going on a date with, but it's just a great one location movie. And you think these people might be on these people's side because they're all white people, so why not just be all the same? It's like, no, y'all are a different type of people that we are just not about, so we don't like seeing a knife shoved in somebody's skull, so we're gonna call 911 and report your ass, and no matter what the odds.
I was going to say Bill Burr has a great stand-up routine about how there's no white unity.
Yeah.
Bill Burr white unity, and listen to that stand-up routine about him on the subway.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And no matter what the odds are against you, what I like about this movie is like you just keep pushing forward, you keep persevering. You have this scary looking man and his whole gang against you. Just keep pushing forward, no matter what. And I liked that message. And the ending was a cute little ending with Charlie Bartlett and Homegirl. I liked the ending. It's a great ending. Good pick. Wonderful pick. All right, moving on. King, what's your number 5?
Number 5, he showed up in my honorable mentions. He's showing up at number 5, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, 2016's The Lobster, which isn't a horror movie, but it's a very dark black comedy. It debuted, I believe, at the 2015 Cannes Film Festival. Has an 87% of Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.1 IMDb score.
Nice.
Yeah, you like that? I didn't research it before, but I got you.
Thank you.
It's when I first saw it, man, it's a weird movie. You would think so. Like, if you haven't seen the movie, spoiler. Its premise
No,
is
it's
like
fine.
there's just a bunch of lonely people, and they're in this like program where they're all housed together in this like giant group home facility. And if they don't find true love or whatever within a certain time period, they get turned into the animal of their choice. So like the guy, Colin Farrell's character, the lead, he's going to turn into a lobster if he can't find true love or whatever. And there's like rules, I think, like where you can't masturbate and you can't like have sex unless you like love the I don't know. It's weird, and like what makes the movie especially weird isn't the fact that people are turning into animals. That's just like a surreal reality that they live in. There's no body horror going on. It's just some of the actions that certain characters make are so like cruel and off and weird. It's only Yorgos Lanthimos could like come up with these types of despicable characters. John C. Reilly's in it. He plays a weird character too. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Definitely want to check this one out. It's definitely on my list.
Check out The Lobster.
Anybody else seen this one?
Love it.
Not yet, but it's on my watch.
I've not seen it yet, but I've been meaning to. That looks brilliant.
Yeah.
You're going to have so many things to talk about with the Lobster, yo. It's very deep.
I want to say what's up to John real quick. I meant to say hello earlier. Hello, man of the movies. How are you doing? And everybody in the chat, go ahead and throw in your number 5. I forgot to ask everybody for their number 5. What is your 5th pick out of 5 for your top A24 horror films? Mario loved X and Pearl. We cannot wait for Maxine. Let's see. All right. And then we've got Astrid, who's got her, sorry. I'm just like reading and posting before reading. So let me just skip over that. And then Astrid. So your top 5 is Climax, The Witch, Enemy, Green Room, and Hereditary / Midsommar. I get you putting Hereditary and Midsommar in the same kind of category because it's, they're both directed by Ari Aster, and they're like almost the same of, the opposite ends of the spectrum in a way. It's kind of funny. Like you said, Corey, you like these flowery, beautiful images, and then you've got this dark, gritty shit going on the other end. Then I totally get that, making it into just one choice. I've not yet seen Enemy, which I do want to see, and Climax. I was this close to watching Climax for this live, but just didn't have enough time. So this is your number 5, Climax. And if you could, go ahead and throw in your rest when we have the next ones going to, that way, because I'll forget, I don't have the best memory. Oh yes, and that's like one of the things about Spring Breakers is how real it was, being able to sing that song, just being so into it. Like I connected with it because of little things like that little Britney Spears a cappella moment was awesome. Yes, forever. Yes, definitely check out Green Room again. All right. Okay. The girls,
Yeah,
those girls, yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, the girls on the subway, they call themselves the Green Goblin Gang, and they were robbing people on the subway in New York, but they were wearing those green bodysuits that you get like from Spirit of Halloween. Because they thought that the security cameras couldn't catch them, like it was a green screen, but they didn't cover their faces, so they were like really stupid. They should have put on the ski mask with it. I don't know why they covered their faces.
That's funny.
Ay. All right. Number 4 for double feature podcast is Saint Maud. Awesome. Okay. I definitely need to check out Lobster because I know I was hearing a lot about that when I was looking around at some stuff. Superbad will always be awesome. And Jonah Hill is going to become a little bit more problematic probably, but what the hell ever. I'm still going to love me some Superbad. Okay, Patrick, number 5 is Saint Maud. Awesome. Okay, we're about to get into number 4. Very good. Okay, so who is next?
I didn't do my number 5 yet.
No.
Yep, you do your number 5, and then I'll do my number. And then I'll just do the next one.
I don't think did Terrence do his number 5?
He did. I went backwards. I'm gonna
I'm gonna
go ahead and go first next time too. Go ahead.
Okay, my number 5 is Men, which came out in 2022, and it was directed by Alex Garland. It has a 6.1 on IMDb. I didn't see the Rotten Tomato score, but the Meta score is 65.
Yes.
I've got the Rotten Tomato score. It's 69%.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoy Men simply because the ending, and I'm probably gonna say this might be controversial, but oh well. For me, the ending birth scene to me represented like
Yes.
the red pill manosphere community, and
Yeah.
with the last birth, it went from like I think there's like 5 births in total, but first 4 births were different white men, and then the last birth was a black man. And I saw that
Right.
as like how the whole red pill manosphere kind of started in the white community, and now it's crossed over to the black community. And now you have all these brothers that jumped on it, and that's what it represented to me. But the movie itself was, it's so strange and amazing at the same time, because you have it was a Kinnear, what's his name, Rory Kinnear. He played all of the men except for one in the movie. So
Yes.
every man is him, but they each
Yeah.
represent a different type of man. You have
Yeah.
the teenage boy who like wants to holler at you, but when you ignore him, all of a sudden you're an ugly bitch anyways. He's that guy.
Right.
Then you have the fake
Yes.
guy who was supposed to be the Airbnb, and he's the one that's gonna act like I'm the nice guy until you don't get the draws, and then fuck you, bitch. It's just it was
Yep.
different. Each one of them represented a different archetype of a problematic male. I wish that it didn't move as slowly, but the ending, I love a what the fuck balls to wall ending. So for me, it was Men.
So I think I messed up with our honorable mentions because I don't think we talked about Men yet, because that is also in my honorable mentions, which was almost in my top 5, because Men I also just absolutely loved. And I like your interpretation of why it was a black man at the end, because I just took it at face value, where it was like you said, homeboy played all these characters and it was him, but the last person was a black man because that was her husband, and it was basically all these men were her husband. It was just like her just coming to terms with the fact that, yeah, quote unquote, all men can be the same. In a way, and I know a lot of men people can see this as like a bashing on men and things like that, but it's just a commentary on what's actually happening. Don't take it too much to heart. Don't be offended, because hopefully you don't take offense to this, because you're not the type of person that they are talking about. Yes, it's called Men. Yes, you can say it's about men, but it's about a type of person who is a gaslighter, who's a person who doesn't take others seriously or cares about other people's feelings, thoughts, and emotions. And typically that happens to be men. Unfortunately, not especially, but being in America, it's just is what it is for us women, just trying to navigate and just be happy and peaceful and whole when we have people just picking at us, telling us smile, or you can't make as much money, or you're just less than overall, in any light you want to see that at. That's what that message is. And it's just, the special effects are beautiful. Yes, it was slow, but like it was also atmospheric, and the tension was being built just perfectly and incrementally. And it will probably move into my top 5 after it marinates after a couple more years or another year. But I absolutely love Men. Anybody else watch or like it?
I want to mention one other thing. I really love the color grading, because I hate when people think that because they're making a horror movie, they have to drain all the color out of it, or they have to put a sepia filter over it, or a blue or green filter over it. It was so vibrantly colored, but not oversaturated. And it made the landscape where she was saying look beautiful. That scene where she was in the tunnel was awesome. I really enjoyed that. And I think we did skip over our number 5 honorable mention, because I didn't mention on my list. Mine was Lamb, just because it's weird as hell.
I need to watch that one too. Pearl.
Yeah.
My other one was Pearl too. Pearl and Min. Yeah. Okay, did I miss both of those? Okay, but yes, Lamb I need to see because I saw the other Lamb, and I always got the other Lamb and Lamb mixed up because it was IFC Midnight, which I also love, and A24. So it was like the other movie basically. I just haven't made it to Lamb just yet. But I love Noomi Rapace, who's the star of Lamb, who is in You Won't Be Alone, which was in my top 10 for last year's 2022 horror films. So I'm looking forward to Lamb for sure. Did anybody else? I think Terrence, I want to call you Ty for some reason. My other friend was here too. And then Tyrone's mixing me up as well. But Terrence, you're good on your honorable mentions. Did you have another honorable mention you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, just The Lighthouse. I forgot that I'd seen The Lighthouse. Yeah, that was incredible. Good. I mean, Robert Pattinson is actually turning out to be one of the best British actors around when you think about it.
Yeah.
These days. He is. And as much as, people will criticize him for being in the Twilight movies, but when you watch the Twilight movies, he's not bad in it. It's just that's the script he's got to read, right? Yeah. And
the other A24.
He is a terrific actor. And The Lighthouse is evidence of that. He's just fantastic. And obviously Willem Dafoe. I mean, when does Willem Dafoe sleepwalk through a park? Right? Never. Exactly. He's just perfect in every role. Even if he's in a piece of garbage like Body of Evidence, he'll still deliver the goods. Right?
I want to see him play Mac Miller in like a biography because he's also in The Rover, which is another A24 film with Guy Pearce. Is Rover an A24 film? Hold on, let me double check. But it is, right? I'm tripping. Of course it is. So, but in that movie, he's also really great. He plays like a simple-minded person, and he looks just like Mac Miller in that movie. So I would love to see him play Mac Miller in a biography. That'd be great. I like him. He's cool. He's good with me. All right. So let's see. Let me catch up on my comments here. So we had a couple of number 4s thrown out there already. Let me see if I can go back. So Astrid said her number 4, their number 4 was The Witch. And then Tony Man said his number 4 was Green Room. Very good. And we also had another number 4 from Mario, The Lighthouse. Lighthouse almost made it into my top 10. Like, it is wonderful. I've only watched it once, and maybe with my third and second time, it might move up. I loved it. It's great. Willem Dafoe is the man. Oh, speaking of honorable mentions, and speaking of Willem Dafoe, an honorable mention from A24 that I just want to talk about because I'm a horror channel, don't have many opportunities to talk about it, is The Florida Project. That is one of my absolute favorite movies in the entire freaking world.
You're here. Yes.
Please, y'all, watch The Florida Project. It's set in Florida, and it's about this little 6-year-old girl who is just, she's got a poor mom who sometimes dabbles in prostitution and sells a little perfume from time to time. And it's just got a lot of soul, and it's just so real. And it just kind of, I don't know, I can't really
it's one of my favorite endings.
It's a glimpse of a real community here.
It's probably one of the best endings I've ever seen in my life.
I live in Orlando, and
it broke me. I cried.
Oh, sorry, Courtney.
See, both of y'all just can't stop. See, that's how great it is. Yes.
Oh, I was just saying that I live in Orlando, and it's a glimpse into a community that we have here that people forget exists. And there's a whole group of people that literally live at the hotels or motels, really. And a lot of their parents work at the parks, but can't even afford to bring their kids to the parks they work at. Like, they get free passes and stuff, but they can't really take the day off to use the free pass. So it's like, it's a real messed up existence.
And I don't want to say that like this was my life. I grew up this way, whatever. But like it's reminiscent of my childhood a little bit because, I moved a lot and I lived in these one apartment complexes in San Antonio, Texas that were just all pink. And we had all kinds of trees and plants and things. And I was there for like maybe 3 years. And like those two worlds, the Florida Project and that world mixed with all of my other experience. Because like I said, I moved like all the freaking time. It just kind of merged these worlds together where it was just like, oh, like it was just familiar, you know, as well as foreign at the same time. And it was just so well done. That little girl, she was also actually the lead child actor in Cocaine Bear. She's going to be a huge ass star. She's just perfect in the Florida Project and in Cocaine Bear. But she carries that whole movie. And then the mom, her mom, was in a young, not Young Jeezy, a G-Eazy music video. And she hasn't made it really big yet either, but I see her also becoming a bigger star. And with Willem Dafoe, and just that mix of just realness and just talent is just amazing. Definitely check that one out. It's not a horror film, but I'm sure you horror fans will also love it. All right, so we're gonna get into our next number, but let me just say hello real quick to people in the chat again, make sure I didn't miss anything or anybody. Let's see. Yeah, he wasn't my favorite Batman so far, but I need to see that one a second time. My deaf ass couldn't hear a lot of the dialogue in the theater, so
he said that the public
Batman.
was body shaming him because he said he wasn't going to work out to be Batman.
Whatever. I wouldn't have cared either.
He said this is DC. I don't have to be on that Marvel diet.
Yes, Mac Miller, he agrees. Mario agrees. That's what's up. I've not heard anybody say that. And there's, you know, when I was watching, I was like, yes, he's got to be Mac. You know, Mac didn't have. Anyways, I won't go there, but I think you guys could see the resemblance. What did Double Podcast say? Yes, I love to see fellow fans of the Florida Project because oh my god. Yes. Please watch it. You will love it. Okay, so our number 4. So my number 4 is The Witch, Anya Taylor-Joy. Welcome to the scene, homegirl. I love you. Love her in The Menu. She's amazing. 2015. It was released at Sundance, or you know, it premiered at Sundance. It's got a 7 on IMDb, and it's got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 60% audience score. Of course, it's from our man Robert Eggers, who also gave us The Lighthouse. I need to see The Northman. I have not seen that yet, and I'm super excited to see what he does with Nosferatu. That's going to be, I'm sure, just mind blowing because I'm sure Nosferatu is like 80% of people's top 100 films or 200 films, if anything. And this one won just over 20 awards, all kinds of awards, including Best Breakthrough Artist with Anya Taylor-Joy, Best Horror, Best Score, Screenplay, Feature Film, all kinds of shit. It only cost $4 million, but grossed $40 million. And it's just an amazing movie. The ending is just chef's kiss. And there's not really a whole lot going on, but just conversations between the family, you know, the parents, Anya, and then she's got, you know, 2 younger siblings, and they're, you know, just fear-mongering each other because they're being controlled by fear-mongering. And it's just a real glimpse into what it was like back then, with the sprinklings of some supernatural stuff going on, whether you want to call it supernatural or not. But it's just a real telling of what happened in the past. And then, you know, we get this cool ending where she gets to finally join her coven, her what's the word I'm looking for? It was her calling, basically, to become a part of this coven, and I love seeing it. Awesome. Anybody else like The Witch?
I've not seen it.
I hate it.
No, you don't.
I've seen it, but
I think you would like it, Terrence.
I'd like to rewatch it with subtitles. I saw it in the theater, and it didn't have subtitles. And I know it's technically in English, but it's like really.
I was like,
English, so I want to rewatch it with subtitles.
No, you have to rewatch it. No, because this is from 2015, and I can't say that it went to the top of my list when I first watched it. It definitely took some viewings because, it's like, sometimes what's going on? Why are they upset? Because they're upset and doing things for dumb fucking reasons. It's like, okay, and what? She's just putting water into a cup. Like, stop yelling at the bitch. Like, what's going on? But it's just like they're that scared. It's going back to Ed Gein, because Ed's mom was super religious, and so like literally everything was a sin. And so when you're living in constant fear, it's a bleak existence, and she's basically just freeing herself from this regimented fear-mongering existence, and it's beautiful to see while also just being bloody and sad. So yes, The Witch.
Awesome.
Okay, what's your number 4, Terrence?
Lady Shasha beat me to it. Men. We did read out the scores, didn't we? Yeah, 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, and what was that? 6.1 on IMDb. Yeah, Men was excellent. I loved it. I like films with some sort of deep, sort of, it's a mystery to sort of figure out what it's all about. And I have watched some analysis videos and stuff like that to help me out. And yeah, it's great. Yeah. I love the fact that it is kind of like it's kind of like a meditation on guilt, because this guy, has he killed himself or whatever, and that kind of thing that men do. If you break up with me, I'm going to kill myself, kind of thing. And it deals with that. It deals
right?
It deals with the guilt and remorse that she feels for that, and whether that she feels guilty or not, or if she feels responsible. It goes into that. I really like that aspect to it. And obviously, as everyone's saying as well, the batshit crazy ending. It was just what the doctor ordered. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, loved it. Ugh, so good. Any more comments on Men? We can go ahead and move on since we already talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, I like the ending.
Yes. You're like, I'm just going to show my friends only the ending.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. Yeah.
The effects were really good.
Yes.
It's a fun movie. Like when you're smoking, like I watched it in the theater and I was high and I was like, is that guy the same guy that was that guy that
right?
I saw
You're like, wait.
ago?
Oh shit, he's coming out his mouth again.
Yeah. I think it took me a second. Like I didn't notice right away. It took me like the second or third character to be like, okay, it's definitely the same guy. I think the little boy was like the giveaway because it was so CGI. I was like, okay, yeah, there's something going on here.
That was CGI.
Oh, so good, so good. All right, who's next?
All right, so we're gonna go with a little ditty that came out last year, Pearl. From T West. The sequel to X. IMDb got a 7 out of 10. And then Rotten Tomatoes a 93%. Letterboxd 3.8. Out of 5. So
yeah, Letterboxd is kind of rough. Letterboxd can be a little tough on motherfuckers because, it's more independent than IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes because they're owned by bigger people. And Letterboxd is not necessarily yet, so there's less influence. But it's kind of more real at the same time. You can kind of say, but yeah.
But also the scale is smaller because on Letterboxd it's out of 5 and IMDb is out of 10. So
I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes anymore. Like I've been back in the day, but now
I still do, I guess. But yeah, Letterboxd is almost like, what do my friends think if I want to see what's up with my friends and people who are like-minded? And then if I want to see kind of what the world wants to say about it, then Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. But again, like I said, they are owned by bigger people, so it's kind of hard to say. But okay, that's fun. Yes. Yes.
And there was an article like the week before last where there people were being outed on Rotten Tomatoes for being paid to do positive reviews.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I know.
Surprise.
I know.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I know. Ugh. And like with Shudder too, I feel like those are more, ones that you can trust.
Yeah.
Like the straight ones on Amazon, because Amazon owns IMDb, I believe, right? And so like on Amazon, they're like always super high. It's gonna be like 4.5, 5 out of 5. And then I hate the movie most times, And I'm like, okay, so never trust the Amazon rating, but the IMDb rating's a little bit better, which is weird. I don't know. But I do tend to trust Shudder's reviews because I've agreed with them a lot so far. Okay. Very good. Very good. All right, Corey, you're next. What's your number 4?
Number 4 is Beau's Afraid. Beau's Afraid is a movie I can definitely go back to. The movie is the shit. 67% Rotten Tomatoes, 6.8 IMDb. Debuted April 1st at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, I believe. And
yes.
Yeah, dude. Joaquin Phoenix. He's really afraid, He's he's going through
to be
some
afraid
stuff
of.
in that movie. I like the movie. It feels it's just Beau's Afraid encapsulates everything A24 is about. That you can tell nobody interfered with this guy Ari Aster in production of Beau's Afraid. And some people couldn't appreciate it because they had to sit in a cinema for 3 hours and try their best to like make sense of what they were seeing on screen. It's much better watching it at home. Less pressure involved.
I agree. I have only watched it in the theater. And you're exactly right. I know when I watch it at home, I'm gonna appreciate it more. Like I appreciate and love it because it's Ari Aster, and I enjoyed watching it. But you're right. It was too long for me at the theater because I was thinking about the bathroom, thinking about what I wanted to eat, all this shit. And it's not in my top 5 or honorable mentions because I've only watched it once and it hasn't, sunk in just yet. But I see it being in my top 10 next year for sure because I will be watching it from the comfort of my own home and enjoying it much more easily.
Did it give you any anxiety?
Anxiety? No. I was loving it all. Like anxiety maybe next time, but it didn't give me any anxiety. Don't ask me right now. All I can think about is a penis right now, the big old penis. Doesn't mean that's my favorite part though. Like Curly just said.
I have to talk about
make sure we all saw that. That's good. That's towards like the very end of the movie.
The question that Corey answered, I feel like Beau is Afraid is like a perfect like personification of anxiety because I have an anxiety disorder. It used to be so bad that I would have like panic attacks, ulcers, migraines, like all that. And the whole, like I had to explain to people who are watching with me that when Beau was going to his apartment, that all these things that are happening are just in his head. These are all worst case scenarios. If you have anxiety, you always think about the worst case scenario. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if I forget my keys? And like that whole thing about if I forget my keys and everybody home is coming into my house.
My door.
And the door closes.
It's an anxiety thought. It's like some people have, I'm sure everyone's had an anxiety dream of like when your teeth are falling out in your dreams, that's an anxiety dream. Or missing the school bus, missing a flight. Those are all anxiety dreams. It's just having that in your head 24/7 until you, like I did, I went to therapy and it helped rewire my mind a bit so that I don't have that thought process anymore. But yeah, he literally put on film what it feels like to have anxiety and to an extreme amount of anxiety. And then after watching the film, I actually watched a few reviewers that happened to be Jewish, and there were some specifically Jewish cultural references in the movie as well that they were explaining.
Oh,
okay.
That's why people didn't understand it. They came in expecting to dissect this film like a normal movie, and Ari Aster was like, "Nah, this is from my heart," and we weren't ready. It's a good
has
movie.
layers.
It's got a lot of layers. Yeah.
Yes.
Good stuff.
What did Curly say? She says, my teeth and hair always fall in my dreams. I always dream of spiders a lot. Send help. No, she's so afraid of spiders. It's not even funny. And it's like, Curly girl, just realize they are your friends. They are helping you keep your home free of pests that will actually harm you. But she don't want to hear. I've told her that so many times. She's like, I don't care. They got 8 legs. I don't want nothing to do with them. I'm like,
Yeah, they got 8
okay.
legs, yo. They're weird.
She's at war with spiders. She's at war with them. She declared war on
overthinking
spiders.
is a bitch. Yes.
Yes.
You know, I don't think I suffer from anxiety in the same way. I replay shit in my head over and over, like, oh, I should have said this, or I could have done that, or whatever. Like that, what cripples me sometimes and can be super frustrating. So I need to see it again. Beau's Afraid and kind of get that connection, because I think it was a big day that day. I remember we had done a lot of stuff already, and then 3 hours in the theater. It was just a dumb combination of things. So I'm gonna appreciate it much more at home. Yes, Curly, your beautiful hair will never fall out. Are not friends. They are 8-legged monsters. As if you say so, homie. If you say so. But I'm letting you know, for me, they my buddies. I give them a little extra breadcrumb if they wanted, or they're not gonna eat that. But
You over here
if they
feeding
would eat what I would
spiders
feed them,
outside with bread.
I'd be like, come inside. For me, shit, I don't care.
Yeah,
All
bread
right.
goes
I
out to
think
the
Lady
pond for
Shasha,
bread.
you're on your number 4. Is that right? Am I right?
Yeah. My
Okay.
number 4 is The Whale. And that's really interesting to
Yes.
me because I hate bottle films.
You hate what kind of films?
Bottle films. I hate them, but I love The
Bottle?
Whale. Bottle, like a film that takes place all in one place. Like they never
Oh,
leave
okay,
that
okay,
one
okay.
place. They call it a
Got
bottle
you.
film.
I haven't
Yeah.
heard that term before.
Yeah, and The Whale, I don't think they ever left his apartment. I think the whole thing takes place in his apartment. It has a 64% Rotten Tomatoes score. It has a 7.7 on IMDb. It came out in 2022, stars Brendan Fraser. Is directed by Darren Aronofsky, but I really want to highlight the writer, Samuel D. Hunter, who was also the playwright, because The Whale comes from a play, which is why it makes sense that the movie takes place in one room.
Yeah. Okay.
It's about this morbidly obese man who's a teacher who, like, throughout the majority of the play/movie, he refuses to go to the doctor because he doesn't have proper medical insurance, and he wants to be able to leave money to his daughter so that she can, have a head start in life because she's about to graduate from high school. And it's such a sad story. I mean, and it's a very American story that a person has to choose between going to the hospital and helping their child start their life in college and everything, because he, like I said, he doesn't have proper medical insurance, and he might be having heart failure because of his massive weight. And it's the acting, it's very, very dialogue heavy, and the acting's amazing. Oh, I mentioned Brandon Fraser, but Sadie Sink plays his daughter, and she did an awesome job. And his nurse, that would be the third person I think is good, Hong Chow plays his nurse. And it's really, like I said, I hate bottle films, but this kept my attention, and it was so good.
I've watched it multiple times. It's
I need to watch it more than once. Yes, I also liked it, and it's not in my top 5 yet, but it might be next year after watching it a couple more times. But I love Brendan Fraser. Darren Aronofsky is one of my top 10 favorite directors of all freaking time. But I've not watched it a second time yet because I'm waiting for Brandon to watch it with me, because I want to watch it with him again. We watched it our first time together, and I want to watch it with him our second time together. But I loved it too, but I couldn't put it in my top 10 right now just because I need to be able to dissect it a little bit more. But I absolutely loved it too. It was great.
It gets darker the more times you watch it because you peel back the layers of the dialogue. There's something sinister lying behind some of this shit. Like it's pretty powerful piece of writing.
Yes. And it's so sad. It's so sad. And he just does a really good job. Like, I thought he gained all that weight, but I'm glad he gained weight and then wore a bodysuit on top of the weight he gained. So I was like, damn, that shit is dangerous, yo. Like, that's too much weight. But it was just a little bit, and then he lost it pretty quickly. You know, he pulled a Christian Bale. Christian Bale's like the king of that shit. And so I'm pretty proud of him because he, wasn't doing a lot of work for a while, Brendan Fraser. And I'm just so, like, quote unquote, proud of him, being a younger person or whatever. I'm so proud of him.
You know why he left?
Do this comeback. No.
Do you know why?
I think I might know, but I forgot. Tell me.
He left because he was literally being like sexually harassed by producers. He was getting the same type of, and he said that a lot of male actors don't speak up on it. It's basically only him, Corey Feldman,
but Corey Feldman, yeah.
And what's his name? Elijah Wood. Those are like the three that have spoken up about being sexually harassed by producers in Hollywood, like being told.
Both Corey's and McCoy.
Brandy Fraser said that he left because he was being told to meet producers at hotels and stuff, and he just wouldn't do it. So they kind of like blacklisted him.
Damn it.
Yeah.
God damn it. So sickening. I fucking hate it so much. Fucking Hollywood, yo. I fucking hate it. That's why we're talking about A24 today, y'all. This is why we're talking about A24 today. God damn it. All right. Moving on to number 3, y'all. All right. So my number 3 we already talked about is Midsommar. Another ending that is bleak yet happy at the same damn time. We've got a IMDb rating of 7.1 with 83% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 63% with the audience. We've got Florence Pugh and Jack Reynor in this one. He obviously did Ari Aster, Hereditary, and Beau is Afraid, like we just talked about. It was released at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema in New York City on June 18th, 2019, and then theatrically in the U.S. on July 3rd, 2019. And then it also won Best Actress, Screenplay, Horror, Score, Cinematography, and various different, award shows and ceremonies and all that. And it only cost $9 million and it grossed $48 million. And like we talked about before, it's just a bright, beautiful horror film. And it's really hard to depict what it is like being on shrooms. And it really does a good job of doing that. And when you're watching those moments with her under the influence, like I find myself breathing heavy with her, like just living the moment with her. And then we get towards the end, and because I've not lost my parents in a tragic accident or anything like that, but I've had tragic moments and things that I've gone through that make me vulnerable, and I see myself in her and going through these transformative moments and wanting to kind of just be a different person and reinvent myself in unexpected ways, like not even knowing I wanted to do that, but doing so because the people around me have encouraged me to do so because they know me and want the best for me. And it's like your friends and your family, and you see that for her because she's lost that and she's trying to find that in her man, and he's not giving that to her. And you see her, a person that you see yourself in, going to folks who are just wanting the best for her, quote unquote, wanting the best for you. So you see her just blossoming, even though it's at the demise of these other people, but screw them, because who the fuck are they? And they're bad people anyway, So it's just uplifting anyway. It's an uplifting horror movie with beautiful imagery that I just cannot get enough of. So any more comments on that, unless we've already said everything we want to say about it?
I wasn't a fan.
Yes. Tell me more about that.
I saw it for the first time last Wednesday, and
good.
And I didn't like it. Sorry.
What didn't you like about it? What was annoying, or what was not working?
It's one of these things that some horror films do to me, where it's I put myself in the character's shoes, right? All of them, and it got to that point where I was like, right, time to leave. Time to leave. Obviously, the movie would be dead in its tracks if the characters all just packed up and went all at the one time. But the cliff sequence, the cliff moment with the suicides, I was like, right, time to leave. And I just didn't buy it that they would stick around even for their college thesis. I know the guy was like, I need to do this for my college thesis, and I was like, oh.
What did you feel about what were your feelings about the suicide, like the old, when the older generation is done?
That's right. That was the point. That was the point where I would personally, if I was amongst that group of people, I don't care how many magic mushrooms I've taken, because I have taken magic mushrooms in the past. So
the thing is, that's a real thing, though. Like, people actually do that today. Like, that was fascinating about me. I'm just like, I see that. and it makes sense. And then I like looked more into it and I'm like, that actually still happens today. That's insane. I'm not gonna do that. If my community wanted me to kill myself when I was 80 because some 2-year-old needs to like thrive, bye. I'm gonna go live the rest of my 90s and 100s over here.
I was all in up to that point. That's the thing. I was so invested in it. I was so like, oh cool, this is like a modern day Wicker Man without all that sort of Christian ideology versus pagan ideology. It's just these people are not religious in any way. I was so sold on that. But when they threw themselves off the rocks and the fact that the characters stuck around after witnessing, I mean, and it was gory. We saw that guy's head fucking explode like a watermelon. Yes. I would have been gone. I would have been gone, and that's where I lost respect for the characters. And you know what I mean? So I didn't care about them. I lost respect for them as
because it should have been more of like a sentimental ceremony versus a gory moment if they were going to take it to a gory place and have it be sentimental at the same time. It was just too much to lead into something that meant more.
If I was amongst a bunch of people and we're witnessing a double suicide, I wouldn't stick around, and shame on them.
Like if you were,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's how
like if you were Florence. Sorry.
Yeah. Terrence is saying, "I'm out." Like shout. If I gotta walk back to the train station, I'm gone.
Fuck that shit. I'm out.
I don't fucking care if I have to walk 20 miles. I am out of here. Right?
You know, I hear you. I hear that. No, that's totally.
But it was
totally
beautifully
valid.
made. The acting was sensational, right? The acting was perfect. It was wonderfully made. Maybe just a bit too long, 2.5 hours to tell that story. I felt was a bit much. But hey,
has anyone seen The Hole in the Ground from Tony Mann's number 3?
Yeah, it's
I haven't even
Irish film. I think it's about a changeling. If you know the lore of the changeling, like
gotta check that one out.
Nice, okay.
Yeah. You seen that new series, The Changeling?
I haven't seen it because it's on Apple TV,
yes,
and I don't have Apple TV.
Very fucking good, man.
I have too many freaking streaming things, and yes, that's definitely like I didn't even know about it until I looked up something like last month, and I was like, oh shit, it's a whole ass series. Okay,
it's good, but it's one of those shows that you feel like, oh, I don't want to get invested in this because they're gonna cancel it. You know, Lovecraft Country, I love that so much, and then bye.
That's okay though. Sometimes, like I want to see Archive 81 still. I still want to see that really bad.
That one, I watched the first 4 episodes. I have to finish it.
Yeah. Has anybody seen double features podcast number 3, The Waves? Thank you.
I have not seen Waves.
No.
I've not even actually heard of Waves, to be honest.
I've seen Breaking the Waves. That's an old one. I think that's also Darren Aronofsky. I'm not sure.
No, Darren Aronofsky is definitely not that, because I've only not seen 2 of his or 3 of his movies, maybe. Let me look up Waves right quick.
No, I haven't seen Waves.
Okay, so it's directed by on IMDb it says drama, romance, sport, but it doesn't always say thriller or horror if there's thriller and horror in the movie on IMDb. IMDb is kind of misleading that way sometimes. So I don't know if Waves
one
is
from 2019.
Yeah,
it's from 2019.
Okay.
I just want to shout out to Curly Girl for putting us on to that, The Changeling. It's her that mentioned it on one of our streams previously, and I love Lackey Stansfield. That guy's
he's good.
Isn't he? I'm sorry to bother you. That's a modern masterpiece. In my
yes.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Surprised that's not an A24 movie because it feels like it.
I know. It does.
If you've ever worked in a call center, like it hits so well.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yes, I've worked in at least.
Especially when they're having the little pep rally where it's like, "So we get more money?" No, but you know, that whole scene just hits hard.
Okay, so I'll move into my number 3. I'm just gonna read some crap real quick. No, I already said that. Who was last? Who just read last, or who just presented last? Did I already say Midsummer? Was that me?
That was you, Midsummer.
Okay, so then Terrence, you're next.
Okay, my number 3. This is number 3 pick. Yeah, is Remember from 2016, starring Christopher Plummer.
After
a screening at the 72nd Venice International Film Festival, it was theatrically released in Canada on October 23rd, 2015. It tells the story of Christopher Plummer's character as an Auschwitz survivor who has dementia, and he lives in an old folks' home, and he's given instructions by, what's his name? Sorry. I'm all over the place here. Martin Landau. Martin Landau gives him instructions to go and assassinate these old Auschwitz guards that are living in Canada. And the trouble is that Christopher Plummer has dementia, so he cannot remember things. When he wakes up in the morning, he can't remember things, but he's always got this letter that reminds him that he has to go and murder these people. It's a really interesting offbeat thriller, and Christopher Plummer is just probably one of Canada's greatest actors of all time. Delivers just a sensational performance. It got what's it got? 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, and what is the other one? IMDb 7.5 on IMDb. Yeah, that's my number 3. Remember. No one's ever seen it. It's one of those ones.
Right, you got me there, dude.
Gotta check it out, man. Gotta check it out.
Yeah, it's called cool, Remember, and people forget it quite like that.
yeah. I like it that the guy awesome. He can't fucking remember anything, so he goes home and goes to the same letter every day. Like, yeah, I gotta kill this guy. That's right.
Yeah. I know. It's great, and you know, it's not your typical revenge thriller.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it. It's not an A24 film that they produced. It's one that they bought and distributed throughout the United States.
Interesting.
But yeah, check it out. It's awesome.
Tyrone, what's your number 4, man?
My number 4. Well, my number 3.
Or your number 3, my bad.
Yeah. Ex Machina, you know, from 2015, came out April 24th, 2015. The IMDb score 7.7 out of 10, Rotten Tomatoes 92%, and the Letterboxd pretty high, 4 out of 5. You know, so people are really digging this one. The budget was $15 million. You know, the director Alex Garland. I really enjoyed it. Like, it was another blind buy. I just bought it on at Best Buy, like a Best Buy run or whatever, and popped it in, and it just took me on a ride. And I was like, I feel like I would have made all the decisions that the main character would have made. And so it scared the crap out of me. So
yes, 100%, like, bro. Like, for real,
scared.
Same.
Yeah, it's just
like,
ever since
this
I
isn't right.
Yeah.
They're living beings. Oh, I feel bad for homeboy, for the redheaded man. Oh,
I've still not seen Ex Machina. I've slept on it.
Oh, you'll love it.
It's one of those ones. It's like, check it out. Come on, what's wrong with you?
You're gonna fucking just love the shit out of it. I already know.
Sci-fi
yes.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. Up there. It's up there.
Ex Machina was on your honorable mention, right, Lady Shasha?
Yes, it was.
Yep, definitely check it out, y'all. You'll love that one if you haven't already. All right. Thank you so much for carrying the conversation on. What's your number 3, Corey?
My number 3 is Green Room, which we've talked about before. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7 out of 10 IMDb. 2015 Cannes Film Festival, released in April 15th of 2016.
What was your favorite part?
Y'all know what the movie's about. That punk band skinheads, they're trying to escape the Green Room. I
the
like
white people escaping the white people.
Yeah. It's whites against whites. It's no holds barred. There's machetes,
white on white violence,
and vicious dogs. Like,
that poor dog, though. The dog. Dude, oh my god, I wanted to cry every time.
The fact that they got vicious dogs as like a weapon of choice in this movie makes the movie a little bit more
so white trash,
high stakes. You know what I mean? Because they're running against something that's naturally faster. My favorite part, though, I like how they are able to set the story up to where it's like, oh yeah, this is the moment that they fucked up, and you know that they're not going to be leaving that room without some serious trouble. Like, just being able to sell that story was pretty impressive. I like
because you're not sure if they're also people you don't like, right? Am I remembering that right? Like Charlie Bartlett's crew, like they could be just as shitty. You're not sure until we see the first murder, right? Because you're like, well, they're performing at this thing and they don't want to,
sure
but they could easily be recruited into it if they were like smooged a bit, maybe, right?
Something like that. Nah, it's more so like I'm pretty sure they're playing, and then like they get booed off stage. I think because
they got booed.
They're playing for the wrong crowd, right? Aren't there like Nazis? I think they
at first like aren't liked at first, but then they get to be liked because that's the thing. It's like, oh, okay, maybe we can do this. And then they walk into the green room.
I feel like we should have watched.
And then there's a fucking knife in somebody's head, and they're like, "Oh shit! Like we really shouldn't have been here. Like we already thought. Like this wasn't really supposed to be what was what, you know, kind of thing." I think. But yeah, it was just like we don't know. Okay, now we're here, kind of situation is what I remember from that one. Because yeah, it was intense. It was intense. I love that movie. It's so good. Very good. Okay, Lady Shasha, what's your number 3?
I'm gonna have to defend this because so many people. I'm sorry, I had to have to defend this. The Rotten Tomato score on it, I'll start with that, is 46%.
Whoa!
That's
but I love this movie. It's 2014's Tusk.
Yes.
It was directed by Kevin Smith and written by Kevin Smith, based off of some banter that went on his podcast about.
Yes.
I
don't want to cut you off, but this is my shit. It was a literal Craigslist post, a UK version of a Craigslist post talking about, oh, I'm just being funny, ha ha ha. But Kevin's listener from his podcast saw it, sent it into Kevin, and he was like, oh, this is funny. What if we did a movie? And they were like, no, bitch. Yes, do the fucking movie. We will watch it as your podcast listeners. And he's like, bitch, okay, if y'all are serious, I'll make this. And he made it. And of course, it made no money at the box office. And despite that, though, it's got a cult following, including me and Lady Shasha, and they are now talking about a fucking sequel as of 2022. So I'm so excited about that. Keep going.
It made me cry. It made me cry at the end. And also, Justin Long is a Scream King. If you see Justin Long in a horror movie, just know it's going to be half decent because
100%.
He was just in Barbarian. Before that, he did Drag Me to Hell, and he was in the original Jeepers Creepers, which is my grandmother's favorite horror movie. My 95-year-old grandmother's favorite horror movie is Jeepers
Let's have
Creepers.
a watch party with Grandma Shasha. Yeah. Let's do it. Yes.
Yeah, this Justin Long got his game on that.
This is the same grandmother.
Oh, it's Justin Long. It was terrific in Tusk. I only watched it the first time yesterday.
Oh wow, yeah. He made me feel for him, for his character, and the ending was so abysmal. Like, this is just this is how you gotta live. That was so sad to me. But yeah, I was just gonna say this is the same grandmother that let me watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre at 7 years old.
See, she knows
and watched it with me.
That's my kind of grandma. Let's go, G-Ma. Let's go. What's up, Del on Movies? How you doing? I recognize the name. I feel like you've been here once before. I thank you so much for being here. Yes, Drag Me to Hell is one of my favorites too. I love the shit out of that movie. I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. Let's see. What does Tony Man say? He said, all right, Rainbow, what's better, Tusk or the Greasy Strangler? Don't fuck with me, man. Don't play me like that.
That's a difficult question.
So the Greasy Strangler. So Lady Shasha and I are in a group called the Guilty Pleasure Gang. And we have been, for like the last few months, been talking about our top 2 guilty pleasures. One of Lady Shasha's guilty pleasures was the Greasy Strangler. Granted, the first time I watched it with my other homeboy, I was not a fan. But I watched it again with Lady Shasha and our friends, and I was like, okay, I do like this more. Because the first person who showed it to me was like, you're going to like it more the second time. I believed him because he and I just agreed on a lot of things. But the Greasy Strangler was just not one of them. But in doing the Guilty Pleasures Gang stream, I'm like, okay, I get it now. I understand. What's his name? The writer director Hoskins. Like, I get him now because I'm seeing other shit. Like, he also did a movie with homegirl from Parks and Recreation. You know, the emo chick. He did a movie with her. Yes, Plaza.
Oh
yeah, no, not Life After Beth, but very similar to that.
Are you talking about fucking Ingrid Goes West? My favorite movie.
I like that one too.
I think
Ingrid
so.
Goes West.
Yes,
that
that, and it was great.
I thought that was A24. It's Neon though.
Yeah.
Yes, Neon is like basically a sister company.
Yeah, it's like right
not a
there.
sister company, but they're very similar. You
Same
know what I mean?
vibe, same aesthetic.
Yes, same vibe.
And Aubrey Plaza, she still hasn't gotten her like moment yet. I feel like somebody, she's so
Ingrid
good,
Goes
but
West is
somebody
fire,
hasn't
though.
given her that meaty stuff yet.
The White
Y'all need
Lotus.
to watch.
She deserves
kills
like a Misery. You know?
Emily is the Criminal. That's her movie right now. Aubrey Plaza's movie right now is Emily is the Criminal, or Emily, is the Criminal. Emily the Criminal. Emily the Criminal, where she's like this poor bitch and she gets into some shit because this guy she likes is into some criminal shit and it gets her extra money. And she's just phenomenal in it. It's great. Watch that for sure. So to answer your question, Tony Man, Tusk. It will always be Tusk. All right. So moving into our number 2. Okay. So my number 2 is a bit of a cheat because A24 recently. Excuse me. What'd you say?
What?
Okay. Anyway, so my number 2 film is a 1998 film. But how? Because A24 wasn't about until 2012. Well, A24 has acquired 2 films before its existence, one of which is fucking Pi from Darren Aronofsky.
Oh,
so Darren sold that shit to Lionsgate, whatever, got that whole back, and then sold it to A24 in 2023. Hallelujah. How beautiful is that shit, y'all? So I feel madly in love. What'd you say, Terrence? What'd you say? I did cheat. I cheated. He cheated. We all cheated. I don't give a fuck. We cheated, right? With the A24 label. I don't give a fuck. Because you know why, though? You know why? Because A24 started out with buying completed films. They went to film festivals buying the films to distribute. So it's really no different because it was just 20 years prior before there existed, or not even 20 years. It was like 12 years prior, whatever the fuck, right? So, what was I going to say? With A24, with Pi, I fell in, or with Darren Aronofsky, rather, I fell in love with Requiem for a Dream as a high school student. I got into film school at 16, watched Requiem for a Dream, and was just infatuated with that fucking movie. Like, everything about that movie I loved. And I was like, oh, who's this fucking guy, Darren Aronofsky? And then I went back like a year or 2 before that film, and he had done Pi. And Pi is just an awesome movie about obsession and finding patterns in nature. And I'm a person who is just inadvertently and advertently like looking for patterns in life, whether it be visually or in my actions or in people's behavior or what the fuck ever. Like, I'm a person who relates to that. I'm not necessarily a mathematical person, but I definitely have always loved geometry. Geometry is one of my favorite math subjects, and just seeing shapes and patterns and things coming together was what I think drew me to this movie, even though his whole fascination was obviously pi, the mathematical, number pi, and him doing all this other algebra and whatever fucking words you want to use for math, that I'm not totally proficient in. But just seeing his descent into this obsession and seeing him wanting to just be willing to sacrifice himself to this basically hypothesis was just so interesting to me, because math and science was always my favorite. I did love English a little bit, but history was not my favorite. But like just math and science and being able to like write and like mix and do things with yourself and explore things in just everyday life was always fascinating to me. And so with Pi, we have a 7.3 on IMDb at 88% on Rotten Tomatoes with an 85% with the audience. And it was released at Sundance in 1998 with a limited theatrical release in the US. And we had a budget of $135,000, which is literally $5 in human terms, with the turnaround of $3.2 million. That's just fucking amazing, and I'm sure it's making more today. And so yes, like I said, we talked about themes of math and obsession and patterns in nature. And yeah, if you've not seen Pi, please watch it. And then if you've not seen Requiem for a Dream, please watch it. And Darren is one of the few filmmakers who I've seen almost every film. But the films that I haven't seen from him are Below, Fountain, and Noah, which I do want to see. But his other films that I absolutely loved were The Wrestler, Black Swan, Mother, and obviously The Whale. Definitely one of my top 10.
Fountain is so underrated. I love that film.
I need to see that ASAP. Yes.
Was that
top 10?
Aronofsky that also did Nymphomaniac?
No,
I don't
Lars
think
von
so.
Trier.
No.
Lars von Trier.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I confuse those two all the time.
Okay, I gotta check him out too then.
Yeah, if you like Darren Aronofsky, you'll probably like Lars von Trier as well. Yeah.
Okay. Check him out.
He says Corey disagrees.
You might.
Anybody else seen Pi?
I have
not seen it yet.
I have not seen it yet.
You guys, I think, will love it. It's in black and white, and it reminds me, who has seen on the panel Tetsuo, the Iron Man?
Yeah.
So Tetsuo had to be fucking influenced from Pi. Or I'm sorry, I take that back. The reverse, right? Yeah. Tetsuo's from the 80s?
Yeah, I had a live stream about Tetsuo.
Yeah, 89.
Really
so yes. So no, Pi was like, bro, I love Tetsuo. I'm gonna fucking do my fucking American white boy shit on math based on Tetsuo, basically, is what happened. So you guys will like that if you like Tetsuo for sure. So it's a cheat, but it's still A24, so it counts.
There was another movie that reminded me of Tetsuo. It was what was the name of that movie with the 4 teenagers that got the superpowers, and then one of them became
Attack the Block?
No, not Attack the Block. The one.
Are you talking about The Covenant?
No, not The Covenant.
Why the hell would it be The Covenant? I don't know why I said that.
One that Max
It's not black and white.
It's 4 American teenagers that get superpowers, but one of them loses their freaking mind.
Yeah, what's that called again? Oh, that's
it's got a weird name.
That's a weird name.
Chronicle.
That's
Chronicle
is basically an American Tetsuo.
That's fair.
I'm down for that. I'm writing that down right now.
I like Chronicle. It was good.
Yeah, Chronicle was good.
Okay. Emily the criminally underrated. Good on you, Del, on movies. I love that.
Yes,
I love that.
Del got it.
Let's see. Pi, your stream rules, I guess. LOL. Thank you very much. I'm kind of reposting these because I should be reading them as I post sometimes. Pi is like 23. 23 is another good one. Jim Carrey. We were on Josie's live stream the other day talking about celebrity crushes. Jim Carrey has always been a celebrity crush for me since I was a fucking child. And when he did the number 23, my respect level for him went on another level, along with Eternal Sunshine, right? And then Truman Show. 23, Sunshine, and Truman Show. I was like, yo, he knows cinema. He's not just a goofy ass comedian, comic dude. He knows heart and darkness and just creepiness, and I love that about him. So yes to that. Tony Man's number 2 is Pearl, which is awesome because it's in my top 5. I had to watch it twice because I kept falling asleep after work, but I liked it nonetheless and can't wait for the third one. Yes, same here, Tony Man. The Wrestler, please watch that because it has Mickey Rourke. Another bleak ending, but you see that shit coming from the beginning, and it's just the fucking truth of some of these people chasing the limelight. It's like, especially for a lot of athletes, you praise a lot of these people, football players, basketball players, gymnasts, whomever, who are using their bodies to make money and to make a name for themselves. I always just feel a little bit of sympathy for them when I watch them, because they're shortening their lives every time they do anything, and
I
it's
read somewhere
just,
that
yes,
the
yes.
wrestler and Black Swan were supposed to be together, and they separated the stories
Oh
into
my
2 movies.
God. That would have been amazing had they done that, man. Oh, I love Black Swan. Like, that's another example, like, just exactly right. Like, where you're just giving yourself to the arts, whether it's physically, or if you're not a person who's giving yourself to the arts and you're not using your body physically, you're giving yourself away mentally and emotionally and just in all kinds of different ways, and it can be draining. And I think if you are an artist, your life could be either lengthened or shortened, really depending on your circumstance, whether you're having an amazing life and letting that outlet be the positive outlet, or whether it's a negative experience and you're letting that be the outlet for the negative experience. But that negativity, any negativity in your life, honestly, whether you believe it or not, is shortening your life, unfortunately. Which is why I do my best to be optimistic at every turn. Like, if I have a bad day or if I have a bad moment at the drive-through, yeah, I could get upset and say a curse word or two, but hopefully in a weird way, like from those 2 seconds, I turn it around to make it positive. Because if I let it sulk and be negative forever, it is a minute or two off my life, just point blank, period. Like, that's honestly just science in a way. And yes, 2 people living similar ways or exact ways could have, a difference in lifespans, but that also just comes down to genetics and health and what you're eating and whatever the fuck. But if in general, if everybody is equal and they're being positive about situations, you do live longer. it's recorded. You do live a little bit longer if you just respond to things a little bit more positively, knowing the fact that you are a speck of dust, that you are a grain of sand in a beach of bullshit. Just recognizing that, instead of letting you get to yourself, instead of beating yourself up or blaming yourself about things. It has a lot of times nothing to do with you. Okay, moving on and not getting too deep. All right.
That this Sunday I needed that testimony. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Intriguing, of course. I gotta check out Chronicle. I cannot wait to check it out. Okay, everybody talking about Chronicle. Yes. Jim Carrey. Yes, she already knows. My homegirl Josie already knows. Underrated for sure. I don't see any videos. Like, I follow so many people and listen to so many people about different things, and the number 23 never pops up. Ever. Tony Man says, exactly, Rainbow. It's better to go out on top of your game than to come back a failure. Athletes are addicted to the dopamine hit of the crowd and can't deal with. I know that's 100% true. That's the give and take of it. No, I totally get that. All right, very good. Who is next? I already talked about Pie. So Terry, what's your movie? What's your number 2 of 5?
My number 2 movie is one that Corey mentioned. It's 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, and what is it on IMDb? Sorry, I had it just there. It's Beau is Afraid, right? Beau is Afraid. I saw it for the first time last week, and I cannot stop thinking about it. As much as the A24 films that I've recently discovered from studying for this, that's the one that's really staying in there. Like, just the whole idea of that sort of nature versus nurture, right? And this character has been absolutely mollycoddled by this powerful woman, right? And you realize as you're watching it that his mother owns everything. She owns the friggin' apartment block. She owns every, she's like her son is like the product of not only her body, but her actual business as well. It's really intense and hilarious. I think it's one of the funniest films I've seen in a long time. It makes you laugh at some of the absurd stuff that goes on in it. I mean, that soldier with post-traumatic stress. I mean, you shouldn't be laughing at that. But the movie is directing you to. It's great. And
Yes.
as much as I know that I was critical earlier about Midsummer, Ari Aster, and I felt that could do with a trim. Beau is Afraid's 3 hours long, and I couldn't honestly say that it needs to be edited down. It actually works as a epic movie. And the movie that it reminded me of was After Hours with Martin Scorsese film from the 80s. It made me think of that, but obviously with a surreal edge to it.
No, I've seen that, and I see that now. I hadn't done that connection. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just think it's terrific.
Okay. Hell yeah.
I agree.
Anybody else have any more comments on the Beau is Afraid?
I do like the part that went into a surreal space when he ran out into the woods, and there's like a whole like sub story that goes into like this fantasy land that tells this man's whole life story of him and his wife and his children and everything.
Yeah.
It's like it comes out of left field, but it's a nice break from all the constant anxiety of the film. And then the ending
like,
when they reveal his father, I'm still confused about the other guy in the attic. Like, who was the other guy in the attic? Was it him? Was his brother? Was it? I'm so confused about that part. I need to rewatch.
See that whole sequence where he's in the forest, like you're saying. That's almost like the life he could have had if he wasn't so afraid, isn't it? It's
the play ends with him discovering his sons on stage in the play that he ran away from. It's just so weird, and it's just one giant metaphor.
Yeah, because he also had this thing where his mother had him convinced that if he ever experienced orgasm, that his heart would give out. Like he was told that he was going to have a heart attack if he ever had sex. So it was that too that was weighing on him.
Yeah.
We don't know how that turned out.
All right, awesome. Sorry to move along a little quickly, but we got to have a hard in at 5:30. So let's move on to our next movie. Is that me?
Tyrone.
Hold on.
No, it's Tyrone.
That's Tyrone.
Yes.
Tyrone.
Number 2 is going to be Hereditary. You know, which we all seen. Well, for the most part, we've all seen. I know Terrence hasn't seen it yet.
Who didn't like it? Anybody in the panel didn't like it?
You know what?
Anybody in the chat
people
didn't like it?
About this
Anybody
movie.
in the chat didn't like it? Tell me if you didn't. Tell me in the chat if you didn't like it. I won't hate you. I just want to know because
back in 2019, people used to get so mad that I didn't agree when people would say Colette deserved an Oscar. Like I just disagreed on that one point. I used to get
wait. You said that she deserved an Oscar?
I didn't think that, like, especially like what she was up against.
She did. Like, is that what you said?
It was a stacked year. It was a stacked year for female performances, and I just felt like,
I think she deserved a nomination at least.
Yeah.
Girly Girl.
Acknowledged.
But there were a lot of good performances that year. That's the only reason I say. If it was like one of those years where it's like, come on.
The only thing about Toni Collette though is the fact that like she's just been acting for so long. She's like,
she has.
So many people like hold on.
My bad.
Girly Girl says she does not like Hereditary. And then she did like this emoji.
She just hasn't been talked about in mainstream shit, and she's been around for like 30 years. That's what's frustrating. It's like Hereditary was just obviously a standout movie, and she's just been standout for 30 years. What's my favorite part about what?
I was asking Tyrone, what's his favorite part of Hereditary?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think my favorite part of Hereditary was the near the ending when you had all the naked old people. Like that shit was just creepy as hell.
No one ever mentioned.
He said no old people group.
Shout out you. You go, Tyrone.
He likes his nudity, doesn't he, Ari Aster?
It was a good choice.
It's so do y'all love that meme where you see Barbie driving her convertible with fucking Charlie in the back seat? That shit is so good. I haven't seen Barbie yet, but do y'all know what I'm talking about? Charlie in the back seat being decapitated with Barbie.
Barbie's brilliant.
That shit is awesome. But no, Toni just needs so much more. Oh yeah, so she's in that new movie Mama Mama Italian mobster, whatever the fuck she is. I keep thinking Mama Monster, Lydia, my homegirl, another YouTube channel, but she's Mama something in some dumbass fucking like shit that I haven't seen yet, but it just looks terrible. And I'm like, this is exactly, Tony, what you've been avoiding for all of these years. You did Hereditary, and people aren't giving you the recognition that you deserve. So you do a movie like this where you think, oh, I'm gonna go mainstream and do some dumbass fucking Hollywood bullshit, and here you are doing worse than you've ever done before. I'm not seeing the
watch
movie.
them nominate
I
her
just know
this
the
time.
vibes.
What's
they
that
do that
show
all the
she was
time.
in where she played like 2 characters?
In that
She
movie?
played like her sister. No, it was a show. There was a series.
Oh
The
no,
United
that
States of Terror?
multiple personality disorder show. I fucking love that show.
Exactly. Where she plays multiple. I'm pretty sure she
United
was
States of Terror. Tara.
Was it that?
Yes, the United States of Terror.
That's a good show.
I love that show. It's 4 seasons. It should have been more, and it ended at a good spot though. But that show is fucking amazing. I watched it thinking it was new.
It was as good as it was.
The second or third episode, I was like, oh shit, it doesn't even fucking exist anymore. Whatever, quote unquote. And yeah, that's another fucking good show to check out with her. And again, like with that whole Mama Mafia shit, it was like her being like, I guess I'll just sell out. It's like, no, girl, just keep doing you despite your lack of awards. Like Steve Buscemi, going back to Ed Gein. He did Ed Gein and his dead mother. Buscemi has never been awarded an Academy Award, but he's done all kinds of shit, been awarded all kinds of awards. Like he's not awarded, but like same category, just people doing these amazing fucking pieces of artworks, whatever you want to call it, and just not getting recognized for it. Mm-hmm. Which one?
Ghost World with Steve Buscemi. He was amazing on that.
I haven't seen that one.
You never seen Ghost World?
That's Ghost Bottle?
Ghost World.
Ghost World.
Oh, Ghost World. I don't know that one either.
Wow.
Oh, 2001. Okay. Who is this? What is this? Okay. Comedy drama with Thora Birch, Scarlett Johansson, director Terry Zwigoff, whoever the hell that is. Okay.
Same guy that directed Bad Santa. Terry Zwigoff, who directed Bad Santa.
Okay, 2001. Okay, I'm down. This looks good. I'm looking at the little tiny teaser. It looks great. Okay. Yeah, Steve Buscemi is my man. Like, I've always loved him. I've always have it. Anything he's in, I'm down for it. That's my man right there.
Oh, yeah.
Same. Yes. All right. So, who is next?
Corey.
It's me. It's my
I thought he was gonna say it's me, Mario.
Nah. Fucking Ex Machina, yo. Ex Machina. Everything has already been said about like the specs and whatnot for Ex Machina, but I'll just say I probably saw it a little later than a lot of folks. This was really popping when it first came out. It's gained a cult following for its depiction of AI and how it could be abused in just like a very small scale. And it's so isolated too. I like that it's an isolated an isolated event that a person with too much money created for themselves, and it ends very tragically. And it's just a perfect story you could tell for what they're talking about with AI and robots and stuff. It's pretty cool. And what's her name? The actress,
Alicia
Vikander. Yeah, she's great. Yeah,
that seems to be the most highly rated out of all you guys. So that I need to see now.
Yeah, dude, it's a smart ass movie, man. It's exactly what you want it to be, man. They don't miss. Awesome. It's good. It's really good.
All right, guess I'll go. My number 2 is Under the Silver Lake.
But yes, it's exactly what you want it to be. Egg Machina, like you just said, it's exactly what you want it to be, and that was just perfect writing. Keep going, Lady Shasha. What you were saying?
Yeah, Under the Silver Lake only got a 59% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it got 6.5 on IMDb. It came out in 2018, and it's listed as a crime drama mystery thriller. They advertise it as this guy meets this mysterious girl and she goes missing. But the thing that they don't advertise about it that I love, oh, by the way, it's written and directed by David Robert Mitchell. And it drops so much tea about Hollywood and about the music industry. And one of my favorite scenes is this old gentleman who goes to visit, who basically drops so much tea about the music industry and all these songs that he wrote on the piano. And it's like, yeah, a lot of these songs, especially when it comes to like pop music, especially during the 90s, there was a whole period where we had these great pop songs and these great boy groups and girl groups, and all the music was written by 60 and 70-year-old men. And it was kind of cool that they were highlighting that. I wanted
what
to
was this again? I'm sorry, the name of it. I'm sorry, I missed.
Under the Silver Lake. And it's written and directed by David Robert Mitchell, who also did It Follows. He went on to do It Follows after Under the Silver Lake.
Yep.
I love It Follows.
But if you like mystery thrillers, I would definitely check it out. It stars Andrew Garfield and Riley Coe. Okay. But it's very LA also. It's very California, very LA, very about the movie industry, about the music industry, and kind of the shady things that happen under the surface in that industry. Yeah. So to me, it was pretty cool. I have to rewatch it because I'm sure there's other stuff that I didn't even pick up on. It's the type of movie that I feel like you notice things with each additional watching.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I actually hadn't heard of that one, so that sounds interesting though. It's definitely on my list. Love that. All right. How about go ahead.
It would put you in a frame of mind of like Mulholland Drive, but less weird.
Okay. Okay.
And I love Mulholland Drive too, but it's kind of in that vein.
All right. Awesome. Sorry again to rush along, but Lady Shasha and I will be doing Guilty Pleasures at 6 p.m. We will be on Master of Chaos's channel, and we'll be talking about our friend's top 2 picks for his Guilty Pleasures, which again are not our top picks, but what's it called again? Chopping wall and garbage pail fucking kids. Like that's the word I was looking for. Garbage pail kids. I never watched that movie as a kid, so this is my first time watching Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah,
so in about 30 minutes.
Enjoyment.
No, 100. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as a kid, to be completely fucking honest.
To me, it's one of those movies like Ace Ventura or The Pest, where like if you're 10 years old,
I love Ace Ventura still. I think.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
If you saw it when you were 10, you still have like that nostalgia for it. But if you were to watch Ace Ventura for the first time in your 20s or 30s, you'd be like,
that's true. First time. That's true. No, so she and I will be talking about that in 30 minutes on our buddies channel with our 4 other buddies. So check that out. You'll see it on my community tab. We'll be talking about, again, Garbage Pail Kids and Shopping Mall. So we're going to whip through these number ones real quick here. And I think a lot of them we've already probably talked about. So in case I get all frazzled and whatever, I'm just going to say thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I appreciate y'all. Throw in your number 1 into the chat here real quick. I'm going to change the banner ticker and type in what is your number 1. Let me know what your number 1 film is. And we will probably be doing this again next year because, like I said, we are going to change our minds in a year because we're going to watch more A24 movies, and our top 5 and honorable mentions will probably change. And I think I might probably do the same for IFC Midnight and other things. Like another one I want to do is Sundance films, because a lot of my favorite movies seem to come out of Sundance, and so I'm like, shoot, I might as well do a top 5 Sundance. But Sundance is hard. It's like I had to probably do a decade. What are your favorite top 5 from 2010 to 2020, maybe? Because Sundance has been around for a minute, and so we'll see how that goes. Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
You can go in the you can go in the other direction too. I'm suggesting worst 5 Wild Eye. Wild Eye is the bane of my existence.
No, I do like some Wild Eye stuff. There are most times but we'll see. And Neon, though, is another one. Like we mentioned Neon before. Neon might be another one I might have to do.
Neon's fire.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. What's up, Sylvester Borzi? Thank you so much for hopping into my chat. I think this might be your first time as well. Welcome. And Tony Man says X was just disturbingly awesome, especially the scene with the old people in the bedroom. Yeah, I think we all probably agree with that. All right, so my number one, you guys, and it probably will stay my number one next year and the year after, is Tusk. I absolutely love Tusk. It is my fucking favorite. Like, I'm trying to put something else above it, and nothing else can do it. Nothing else can top it. It's got a 5.3 on IMDb, which, hey, as much hate as it gets, that's a pretty high rating on IMDb, with a 46% tomato score, which is pretty low, 36% score with the audience, which is really low. And of course, it's Kevin Smith's movie, who also did, a bunch of comedies, including Clerks and all that shit. And then Tusk also has a sequel called The Yoga Hosers, starring Johnny Depp's daughter, who is in Tusk. Johnny Depp's daughter gets no hate because she's the daughter of Johnny Depp. She's, a little lackluster in Tusk, but she does a little bit better in Yoga Hosers. Although I will say I've not seen the whole movie because I'm just not interested in it. But I've seen clips of it. And what else we got here? So it was released in 2014 at the Toronto International Film Festival. They asked them to screen at the Midnight Madness section of the Toronto International Film Festival, and it was runner-up for People's Choice Award at the Midnight Mass screening. And then it screened at the Vista Theater in LA on the 16th of September in 2015 and had a theatrical release on September 29th that same year. And so, unfortunately, though, it cost $3 million to make, only made $1.9 million. So it lost money. Despite that fact, though, it is one of those movies that just has a cult following that includes me and some of you guys. And we just are just in love with this movie, so much so that they're talking about a sequel. And so in 2022, Justin Long admitted to the fact that Kevin James and he had talked about a part 2, where somehow he comes out of the walrus suit and becomes the new Michael Parks, and he would then be the new villain, which would be amazing to see, which I'm okay with getting past the suspension of disbelief, because he's already a walrus. Let him go back to being human and make another walrus out of somebody else. Fuck it, I'm down with that. As long as Kevin is writing and directing it. If he writes it and gives the directing ring to somebody else, maybe. But I would prefer it if he were to write and direct this movie. But the fact that this movie is just so dumb, but yet just so funny and realistic at the same time, I just cannot get over how much I love fucking Tusk. It is my number one movie almost of all time. And what else did I write about this one? I think that is all that I wrote, and I just fucking love the shit out of it. And so Homegirl, his girlfriend in the movie, I recently just watched I recently just watched a movie that she was in that wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. But I really liked it. And I like survivor movies. If y'all seen Frozen, not the animated one, but Frozen, where they're on the ski lift.
The ski lift, yeah.
Yeah, the ski lift movie. Well, Homegirl, Genesis Rodriguez, Justin Long's girlfriend, she's also in a movie called Centigrade. So Centigrade, she's in where she's trapped in a car, pregnant with her husband. And so, they were driving along a highway in Europe. They're traveling from wherever the fuck they're traveling from. And there was an ice or a snowstorm coming. And so they said, oh, okay, let's pull over and wait for the storm to pass. But when the storm passed overnight, when they were sleeping, they were basically snowed in their car and they couldn't move. Her pregnant, him in there. It's a fun story. Kind of like Frozen, but stuck in a car. So she's great in that too. I'm surprised she's not bigger than she is, because I love her, Haley Joel Osment, and Justin Long, Michael Parks. I mean, Tusk is just fucking everything. talk shit about it all you want. I'm okay with that because it deserves it, kind of. But it's one of my favorite films ever. I love it.
But I noticed that Johnny Depp get no praise there.
Well, no. So the thing is with Johnny Depp is like I loved him, and I honestly didn't recognize him at first, and I just don't talk about him anymore since the whole fucking debacle. And like he was my favorite part, one of my favorite parts, and he's just not going to take away my joy from Tusk. I'm just not going to talk about him and whatever. Like Edward Scissorhands, fucking like he's my other James. Like he was my James Franco was my new Johnny Depp, basically. And like, he's my next generation, and they both fucked their shit up. And I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I'm still gonna watch Jeepers Creepers. I'm still gonna watch all those fucking movies. Like, fuck them all. Like, whatever. He's still great. He's still talented. He's still amazing. But I'm just not gonna talk about him. What's your number one, Terrence?
Michael Parks was sensational in Tusk.
Oh my god, it's too bad that he
carried the whole film for me. And Justin Long, the torment in his face was just.
If Michael Parks is around still, he would have been in part 2. Or I guess that's a lie because he was dead in part 1. But they would have had flashbacks or something. They would have had him in flashbacks or whatever. You know what I mean?
He reminds me of Rutger Hauer, Michael Parks. I don't know why he just reminds me of Rutger Hauer. Great villain type characters, character actors.
What's up, Ian? Ian was in my IFC midnight chat just a couple of weeks ago. How are you, Ian? Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Mario is still here. What's up, Mario? And Astrid. Astrid is still here. Man, thank you so much for still being here. You the motherfucker number one. Thank you. All right. Okay, Terrence, what's your number one?
Oh, number one is easy. I was so not on board for this because I actually felt that when this movie was coming out, that they were just making themselves feel so self-important, right? And that is Pearl. Pearl totally changed me because everyone was raving it. Pearl, everyone
Pearl.
was raving it. Or is it Pearl?
No.
I gotta say like Pearl.
Oh,
right.
Oh no! Say it the way you say it. I like the way you say it.
Pearl.
I was like, what?
How you want.
No, we're all gonna say it the way you say it now. From now on, it's Pearl.
It's Pearl.
You're talking about Maxine and X, right?
Right.
Okay.
But yeah,
I literally wrote down Pearl. Okay, so you mean Pearl? Okay.
Yeah, Pearl.
Okay. Thank you, American man.
Yeah, and I honestly, Mia Goth. I mean, she is, in my eyes, is a movie star because of that film. I'm a star, right? And that whole, it's funny because I'm so anxious to see Maxine, right? Because what I'm predicting for Maxine is they're going to drag that lake. If there are any sense, the cops are going to drag that lake, right? And will they find the projectionist in the lake? Because the thing that bothers me about Pearl is was he real? Was the projectionist a real person, or was he just part
he was real, homie. He was real.
Did anyone interact with him? Did anyone ever see him?
I mean, I never heard anybody say that he might not be real, honestly.
Yeah, see, I love stuff like that.
Got me thinking.
Yeah, so if they drag that lake, obviously they're going to find a lot of bodies under that lake.
She was definitely crazy. There's no disputing that. That's for sure. She was definitely off her rocker.
He told her what she wanted to hear, right? He was kind of, and the whole seeing him as the scarecrow, straw man, you know?
Yes. On top of that, I think he told her what she was supposed to hear as a normal person, but because she was so controlled by her mother, she didn't get to hear those things that a person who shouldn't have heard that stuff, but she was so controlled and on this narrow road that she wasn't told things. It was like saying like the corner store is on that corner. She wasn't told those things. So when she was told those things, it was like this big super thing when it should have been just a small, minuscule, nothing situation was how I saw that. But no, I like that idea though.
She was an interesting character in X, right? But I think the Pearl is what made her an icon. And, I've seen on Instagram so many cosplays, so much stuff about that particular character. It's really going to go on as this horror icon.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yes. Tyrone, what's your number one? Sorry to rush you guys.
No problem. We're gonna go with this year's Talk to Me. That's my number one, and it just went so hard for me. I'm a sucker for possession films. IMDb gave it a 7.3. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 95%. I'm just here for all the Talk to Me love. Like I recently had a discussion about it on my channel, and we were all just like gushing over what a great job they did over it, how they did something different with that subgenre of horror, with comparing like possession to like doing drugs and stuff like that. Like, it was wild.
No, I love the whole like, it's almost like a seance, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not a seance, but it basically is a seance. But yeah, like you just said, like it's a new drug. Just contacting to death was a new drug, and I absolutely loved that aspect of it, because people have to choose or want to choose that they don't want to take part in drinking alcohol because it's detrimental to their health and their life. But a lot of times those people then find something else to bring them down, unfortunately. But yeah, I could go on, and I don't want to drag it out too long, but yes, you're exactly right. And we've talked about Talk to Me already. So let's go on and move on to Corey's number one. Yes, Corey, what's your number one? Are you there? And let's go ahead and move on to Lady Shasha until he comes back.
Okay. My number one, with a Rotten Tomato score of 84%.
Yeah.
And IMDb score of 6.3% is Under the Skin.
Yes.
Directed by Jonathan Glazer, written by Walter Campbell and Jonathan Glazer, and it says and others. But the thing that I love about it so much is it's one of my favorite type of science fiction movies. To me, I would pair it up with David Bowie in The Man Who Fell to Earth. And there's also a movie from 1984 called The Brother from Another Planet. If you can find that, definitely watch that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love
and this lives in my mind in the same universe as those two movies. And seeing Earthlings from the point of view of the alien. I love that all three movies are from the point of view of the alien. And a new one that I would pair with this is Fried Berry. If you haven't seen that one, it's a South African
Oh my gosh. So yes, no, I definitely wrote that down. So Fried Berry with Under the Skin. So if you're like, oh, I like Under the Skin, I'd say watch Fried Berry and watch Men, because those are better movies. Yeah. Period.
But Under the Skin, I also love the idea of Scarlett Johansson just randomly picking up men and doing what it was her prime directive to do this to these men, but I just loved it. I love the fur coat. I'm
so excited you said Fried Berry, because I was the first person in my brain to say like that comparison. And for you, Lady Shasha, like I'm like, yes, this is why we are friends. Yes,
exactly.
Like, that is my recommendation. If you like that movie and you want something a little bit more weird, please watch Fried Berry. I fucking love Fried Berry so much.
And if you have not seen, if you love Fried Berry, you have to go back and watch The Brother from Another Planet. It's like Fried Berry feels like The Brother from Another Planet to me. I think that one is on Tubi. It might not be on there anymore, but I know a few months ago it was on Tubi. It's from 1984. It takes place in New York. It's about this alien that just happens to be a black man and his experience in New York. And it's very similar, or Fried Berry is very similar to that, except Fried Berry takes place in South Africa. And I love the ending and the reveal of what the alien looks like, because there have been accounts of people saying that they've seen aliens with pure black skin. And that's one of the things I love the most about the reveal of what she looked like.
About that. Yes, I loved that too.
And the void that she kept taking the humans into, this void that was just like, it's kind of similar to the void from Get Out. When he would mentally go into that void, like that, the visual of it was very interesting. And just seeing Glasgow, it was really cool seeing what Glasgow looked like. And her experience trying food for the first time, riding the bus, and just all these wild things.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Ari Aster, who did Midsummer and Hereditary, also did his short film. strange thing about the Johnsons. If you want to watch
Yes.
that, watch it. But it's about sexual abuse between father and son. If you want to check that out, it's very disturbing, but very effective, very moving, very,
and very
good
odd
shit.
because the twist is that the father is the one being abused. And it's so weird. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I can say, like, the concept of it is weird, and
Yeah,
how he
it's
was so afraid
trippy.
of his child.
To say the least, Shasha.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yes. Okay, moving right along. Next number one. Did we? Yes. Next number one. Are we done? No, we're not done.
Yeah, that was our number one.
That was it.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to rush you. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, let's go ahead and finish here in 2 minutes. So that lady Shasha and I will have at least 10 minutes between now and our next live. If you go onto my community tab, you will see the link for the live stream that is happening in about 10 minutes. We will be on Master of Chaos's channel. Again, talking about Chopping Mall and Garbage Pail Kids. Yes. I hope to see you there, even if it is just for a minute. So there are 6 of us in the Guilty Pleasures crew. And so this is our 5th screening. The 6th screening will happen in October, or live stream rather, and that will be my 2 picks. So everybody has done theirs, and we've done like a lottery system. So I ended up being last, unfortunately. And so my 2 picks will be discussed in October, but I can't announce what my 2 picks are until tonight. So if you want to know what my 2 picks are, tune in tonight, and then show up in October rather, not in August, but in October, when the 6 of us will be talking about my 2 guilty pleasure picks. And y'all, like, our guilty pleasures have been pretty horrible. I mean, you know, I've talked so much shit about my I don't want to talk shit about people's movies that they like, but the whole point of this whole thing is talking shit. It's like guilty pleasures, right? But you know, it's the 6 of us, and I've talked a lot of shit about all 4 of us so far. So I'm fully prepared for these 5 friends of mine to talk shit about my guilty pleasure picks in October. And it's whatever, because I'm still going to love these movies till the day that I die. But I appreciate everybody for being here today. And Corey, thank you for asking to jump in last minute and wanting to be a part of this. Again, you were supposed to be here for IFC Midnight, but you know, you work a hard job. You work graveyard shifts, so you couldn't be around. That's totally okay. So thanks for trying to, you know.
Congratulations to him, because he just graduated recently too.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Well, shout out to that.
What the fuck? Yeah, you didn't tell me that? Okay. Well, congratulations to that shit, bro. I didn't know you were working and going to school. Say something on that, King. Say something on it. Say something. Are you in the bathroom?
Did we lose you?
Come on now. Anyway, congratulations. Congratulations. I appreciate you being here. Yes, Josie says congratulations too. Josie, you've been here this whole time. I appreciate you. She's just a real one. I love her so much. All right, y'all. Well, thank you. And I hope I bring this crew back next year for another top 5 or maybe even top 10 A24 list. And thank you so much. I hope I see y'all here in the next 9-10 minutes. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Bye.
Peace out.